checker here. Sound check, sound check, sound check. Awesome. Cool.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space.
Hey,
As
Kurt.
you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes into
We're kicking off a new
Is
week.
this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh. Did we?
I feel like I'm ahead of the
That's cool.
game, which
I can
is too
pivot.
scary here.
The smell of smoke
Like I'm
curdles
missing
in your
something.
nostrils.
I'm
Hold
probably
up,
missing
I thought we
something.
were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. Alright, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, three strangers will meet in a dim bar. A veteran zombie slayer, a disgraced general out for revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plants. Now describe your characters. How did you do
Get that done ahead of time.
I have the right tools for the job.
It is fun. It's weird. It's getting lighter out here every day. And I'm like, wow, the sun's still out and I'm streaming. It's weird. Hey, Jeremy. Jeremy, when Tony puts in events for Paige, will you let me know? Because I got to get, especially if she's DMing stuff, because I need to get her in on the GREYHAWK community group, because we got that room set. Thanks. So we want to make sure that she gets into the same, we're all in the same room DMing together, you know. One big happy family.
A story
awesome.
once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined
Cool.
without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness the mad mage is stirring. From countless voices the castle takes shape.
Dude, you as well. You as well in the room, man. Absolutely. You, Kurt, as well in the room as well. All of yous. 100%. If I need to add it, if I need to tell Ron and Phil I need to add a table, we'll go from 5 tables in there to 6. That's not a big deal. Yeah, 100%. That would be awesome. I feel like we had a wrong button here. There we go. All right, cool. All right, no Anna, no Mike yet, but I am a little early. That's okay. Whew.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape 3D.
we're
Today
going to do my shout-outs.
Speed paint of one of our little peasant houses to show how easy these things are to paint. Here's the peasant house I have to paint today. It has been primered black. Okay, so we're all ready to go. So I got about 3 minutes into it so far. We got the base, we got the roof, and then we have a few smaller components. I have flat boards here for the loft, and then I got a little itty bitty window parts there. And then I have a hood for the flue up on the roof, and this could be resin printed or FDM printed. And then lastly, we have little ragtag door to put on the front with a filament hinge. All right. In terms of prepping the model,
Almost there.
sometimes these
Hey,
little
comma.
holes where the filament door, the filament's supposed to run through, can get clogged up on your resin doors. Sometimes the resin will just settle in there when it's washing out and kind of harden. Sometimes with these doors, it
Sparky, what's going on, man?
A little off, you know. You might need to clean it out. If you do,
fun times.
Use a drill bit. 5/64 is the size you need to clean out those holes. So if I have a door there, I might just.
Huh. There we go. I hate when I did that. I had this thing set to the exact page on something, and then I moved it by accident.
And we will continue.
There we go. Got it back. Hate that.
All right. The first thing I'm going to be doing is applying brown onto the timber frames. And I'm going to use a pretty good sized brush. I don't care about getting brown everywhere for this first part. In fact, it's preferred. So there's my brown again. Kind of on the lighter side of a mid-tone. Now I don't want to use so much brown that I'm filling in the details, of course. And if some of the black primer comes through, that's all the better.
Alrighty.
You definitely don't want to
what's up?
Waste your time creating
everyone.
An even coat
Here comes
this.
Santa.
It'll actually take away from it in the end, and it's kind of just a waste of time. You can go do something else.
Hi.
Do make sure you kind of hit
How are things?
the tops and the bottoms
Good.
of your timbers.
Good.
Yep,
Okay?
there we go.
Don't just paint the face of these things.
Pin
Because you're not going to be
yours.
coming back later
There we go.
to hit these sides. This is kind of the last time.
I'm good here. Things,
unless you absolutely have to come back in to do a little touch up. Okay.
That hopefully healing up and getting better every day.
Yeah, I got a semi. It's kind of a. I'll save it for when we go live. Cool announcement here.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, minor thing. Yeah, dude, I understand that.
To keep the wood color.
What the heck was I? I was about to hit a button, and now I don't remember what I was going to hit. I hate that. Oh, I know. So, the Bill Webb Necromancer Games Kickstarter is going. I did it. Here is the link. I'll be doing that a lot tonight.
You know, kind of dry brush it a little bit as opposed to like a straight paint job.
Hey, Keith. Got your stuff going out, by the way.
I might saturate it a little bit, and sometimes I might
back MRI.
Hit the tops and move along.
I threw my back out like 20. It's got to be 25 years ago. And I was on the floor at my old house. One of my wife's good friends. He was a chiropractor, and he was caddying
different amounts of pigment in different areas.
Oh God, what's the name of that? The real exclusive golf course in the end. The one with Hell's Half Acre, the one that's in Clementon, New Jersey, that no one knows about. He caddies there, and I had to wait till he got back. I was like on the floor for 6 hours. Yeah, still the chiropractor's got to work on that spot. It's just so I understand, man, with backs.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
We are done with our first part here.
Yeah, man.
Okay, we're gonna let that dry.
I understand that 100%.
We're gonna go over to the roof.
I'll be between sitting and standing a lot again tonight, but I think I'm a
lot
better than I was last week, and better than the week before. So
that's pretty similar color.
Oh,
good.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly certain it matters if I do the ground after the walls or before, since I'm going to be, putting dirt down as well.
Yeah, backs are nothing. Backs are the worst.
Because
what are you going to do in that case? You know what I mean?
So it'll be
kind of stuck.
Nice little backdrop for the dirt I put in there. And again, don't care really about applying an even coat or even being careful, not worried about hitting the walls. Okay. Another thing is when you put that wash in there, that's going to go, you know, the way I've modeled this, it's going to go straight into those corners. So even if your corners aren't perfect, they're going to get filled up with that wash.
There
a
comes
little
Mike.
bit. So you'll
All right,
have a little bit of
enough of that.
grace.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, John. Hey, DM John. I'm gonna start seated. The good thing about this one, you know, I keep record. I had all the old folders, so I just went back to whatever number it was. Legends of Lore number 81 or 82. I think it was 81, and I just took the whole. I was like, oh my god, I don't have to find all these pictures again. There's all sorts of goodies in here. I was like, cool. Yeah. Whew. Here. Well, I think I'll start. No, I'll start seated. I can't make up my mind. I'll start seated. Nice. Another good mic topic. Mic idea.
I had the idea for it, but I only crammed for it a few hours ago.
That's enough, man. Cramming is good. Sometimes cramming's way better.
That's good. I haven't planned for this at all, more than
Well,
just thinking about it a bit. But
Good for your honesty, Ann. I appreciate that. It's all good.
So we'll see. Yep. I'll open up my obsidian here and
I had like a flashback of how this one other one went, and I remember. So I already got the 83 box set encounter tables up because I know Mike was really big on them back then. So I got that. I got it already to that page. So
Good deal.
yeah, man. I know. See, I remember. Carly
Because
probably.
I wasn't thinking about it this time.
Yeah. So we're good. Plus, I got this. And I don't know where this came from. I got this humanoid density map. I have no idea who made it. I'll share that too. I don't remember where that came from. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough in everyone's ear. That's allergies. Oh, give me 1 sec.
If it's a density map, it's probably Wosinger.
yeah, he did some. Yep.
I got an entire unopened box of icebreakers, so I can just, if I need to put something, you know, suck on something with the cough. There you go. Ah. All right. Nice. Okay. Boom. It's a good question, BB. We're going to maybe find out on that one. How much do they eat? All right. We kick off a week of 4 streams with Anna and Mike on a Legends and Lore. I wouldn't say it's a repeat because, but the topic was done 211 or 12 episodes ago, only like 4 years ago. Yeah. So
Yes, we might have an entirely new audience.
The odds are not. Yeah, that's except for like Dale, Assure, and a couple of
Right.
a couple other people. But yeah, absolutely, because that was like right in the middle of COVID. You know. So all right, so it's exclamation point drawing for giveaway. So classic D&D reprints. Let me pop up some recent follows. There we go, and we'll get rolling here. So. Yeah, we're going to go Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Saturday will be in the morning. Hey, what's up, Jeff? DM Dave just did a one-shot where players with Giantkin, Wily Hobbit played net, and that's... So how did he play net? Did he play both heads? Were they arguing with each other, Jeff? That's pretty cool. I have that all the time, man. Yeah, I love Ettins. Definitely love Ettins. We'll talk about a whole bunch of things. All right, so... We got Giants and their kin. Alan Groy gave me some ideas too, and we'll just please feel free to ask questions. But so when you start back in the old days of GREYHAWK, you got ogres, hill giants, and you got frost, fire, stone, storm. That's it, right? That's it. But then I think there's some ones in the '83 box set that maybe show up in other places, and like Fiend Folio, Monster Manual 2, and then so you're getting you start to really get some cool things. Plus, there's a lot of variations out there that probably have come in the last 20 years that we may miss. So bring them up, and I know there's miniatures that Wizards came out with. Like one, I have a sand giant plastic miniature, and I was like, I don't remember ever seeing.
Sand giant.
Yeah, it said sand giant. I was like, what is the sand giant? So there's got to be some out there. What's up there, Sam? So I mean, everyone G1 through 3 is like one of the penultimates, right? Who has not at least touched? Yeah, it's probably third there, Jeremy. Probably third. Well, it was at that 2000 range when they started making Wizards of the Coast minis up to 2008. Right, so yeah, it's from Al Qadim. Thanks, Sam. See, I know I wasn't hallucinating.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does exist. But like the G1 through C series, and then the Return. Oh, that's what I forgot to find. I gotta go find that. So Anna, your thought? Yeah, Return, because it's got a lot of add-ons, right? Right. So Anna, what are your thoughts on this?
Now I need to be both overthinking things and also be a bit kind of the woke asshole who ruins this. But I'm trying to do it in a way that I think is creative and make you think a little bit, so to speak. And first of all, giants are awesome from a mechanical standpoint. They are cool, they're big, they're brutal, and they throw things, and they're good at distance. So from a mechanical standpoint, I totally get them. They're fun, they're so on. But if you want to build a campaign, creatures, at least in my opinion, when I play, and so it's an Anna problem, not a general D&D problem. It's a problem for me, not for the game or for anyone else. But I want my monsters to kind of make sense and to have like a home or have like an origin story or something. And it's okay if you have like one bizarre wizard contraption or the god created one screwed up monster, but the giant seems to be akin, so to speak. They're like a type of people with some sort of culture and stuff. And then there are, in my opinion, a bit too stereotypical, so to speak. Someone told me that the hill giant is the hillbilly and the stone giant is a stone age person, and so on, just like bigger. But if I shave off a little bit of that stereotypical, then they can be a lot of fun. But one of the things that I want to figure out in GREYHAWK, meaning where do they come from? Where do they live when they don't raid, so to speak? That's the thing. And also, how are they supported? And Rick Deola had some interesting theories on this, meaning if you have a giant that is like 10 times the weight of a normal human, they should eat the whole countryside, so to speak. So there are some of these kind of ramifications, you don't need to worry about it, because you can simply say, if you don't want to, you can simply say, well, they have some sort of a weird metabolism. But that also implies that they are different than humans. They are not flesh and blood the normal way that humans or similar sized creatures are. So these are my caveats going into this, meaning they're both awesome and difficult depending on what leg you're standing on, so to speak. And I tend to stand on the difficult leg 75% time of the time, and on the awesome easygoing leg 25% of the time. So for me, they're both an awesome asset and problematic at the same time. That was maybe on the pedestal. Now we can skip all that and have fun and talk about giants throwing boulders and stuff like that. So
I say it's a fantasy setting. I don't worry about it.
no, that's meaning you don't have to.
Yeah,
I'm the one that
yeah.
I need to for my own sanity.
For your own
Yeah.
sanity, you do.
Yeah.
But like a lot of monsters don't make sense.
No,
You know,
but that's why I'm saying,
yeah.
it's an Anna problem, not a problem
Yeah.
for the game or for GREYHAWK in general. No.
Yeah, and I think that the Giants and GREYHAWK have been very well done. So, Mike, how about your thoughts on?
Well, what Anna's worried about is probably the underlying drive behind the liberation of Jeff module, right?
Right. Yeah.
Giants can't support themselves, so they raid humans in mass.
Yeah, but that meant that they need to come somewhere, and on the other side of the mountains, they don't have
No, there's nothing on
huge
the other
home.
side.
Yeah.
It's
they
all
need to
desert.
come from they need to come from somewhere, so to speak. So yeah, but they maybe they traveled in somehow somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, my problem, well, we're talking about problems. My problem with the G modules was that all the giants, for convenience sake, were crammed into the Crystal Mist Hill Furnace area. Like,
Yeah, the Jotuns.
you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know, for me, I think the Frost Giants make more sense if they were up in the north, obviously, Kursk
Right.
and whatnot. But
Which makes
whatever.
sense. That makes total sense, Mike. I agree, 100%. I solved this problem, and like everyone goes, well, how do you get giants in the Lort Mills? Because that there shouldn't be any. Well, first off, that's incorrect. I mean, you got right, and I'll prove it to you with Anna's map. It's so close to Altamira too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Altamira is the problem? That's where they come from?
No, right
No,
next
I'm
to
just
it. Look. Oh, I guess it would help if I switched screens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Esmerin's right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's where they come from.
Esmerin. No, Esmerin is an enclave of stone giants and halflings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think right there in a hidden valley. I mean, that's 50 miles from Altamira at most. I mean, it's pretty funny actually that but that's just one. And then for me, it's simple. I have my thing, which we talked about with Ed at GaryCon, the portals, right? The portal discussion. I have those portal masters putting up teleporter portals, and they're porting in giants from the Crystal Mists and the Hell Furnaces to come in and wreak havoc. And so that's simple for me. I mean, a little simple teleportation, and you got it there. I mean, so plus I think that there's probably hidden enclaves here and there. I felt that the Hill Giants are the easiest to get along with in Trey. You think so, Jeff? I'm not sure about that, but that's a good point. They are kind of brutish, and I think maybe Stones seem to be really reclusive. It's a tough call. And then you got
the
a bunch
Hill Giants in G1 seem to be a little more like
civilized.
They have a aesthetic. Yeah, they're civilized. Doesn't mean they were trading with anyone necessarily, but they definitely weren't like living in a cave. Like you would expect like an ogre to do or something.
That is true. That is true. And it could be, you see plenty of giant skeletons in adventures. Yeah, you do. Absolutely. And this is this room here is one of the greatest encounter combats of all time, right? You want the bloodbath. Yeah. That's it. Right there in Nosra's a great hall. There's like 30 to 50 giants in here, and just the artwork in this is incredible. And there's the Stedding building, an actual picture of it. So Gary had some thought on, and these adventures are only like 8 pages long each. all put together in 1, 2, and 3. It's on the boost, absolutely. So I know you need to, everyone is different in their games, and but it's just, I don't know. I'm a fan of giants and giantkins, and yeah, and Snur is under drow influence. It's a good point, BB. And Najra takes, it's all the way trickle down effect. That is true. Um, but for future books come out with a lot of different variants of giants and kin, and then there's ideas on how to not make them the same and how to not make them boring. I mean, how many people go, it's a hill giant, it gets one attack per round, I know it's going to do 2 to 16 on me if it hits, no big deal, right? I mean, that's the stuff you got to avoid, right? That's the thing I like to avoid at all costs is those. Oh yeah, they're just standard hill giants. They're no big deal.
Well,
There
the
are,
difference between every hill giant is what's he got in his bag.
yeah, that's true. And that was Jason Devota's one of his favorite discussions of all time. Come out of the room, took a whole session, start with whole person, sticking cloud, then a bloodbath after that. Yeah, Jeff, I hate to tell you this. If someone was trying to hold person on giants, it doesn't work. If it was the other way around, it works. But bugbears and up are immune to hold person. Gnolls are the highest it can be held, unless you have hold monster. But then again, maybe 5th edition is different if you're playing 5th. So, but all right. So I guess we can bounce around, talk about types we like, where they're located. Got some special things here. I want to share. Oh, well, that's cool. DMs can do whatever they want. I agree 100%. That's really cool. This map, I don't know where it came from. And if anyone knows, maybe Sam knows. This is humanoid density in the world of GREYHAWK. I have no idea where this came from. Anyone with any ideas? Wow, even Sam doesn't recognize it.
I think you've shown it before, but yeah, you've shown it a couple of times before, but I don't know where it,
I
comes
don't
from.
know where it comes from.
You found it somewhere, and I don't think I
Yeah.
have.
I don't recognize that. But like I said, Wosinger does a lot of density maps. Paul Luby.
Yeah. But it's kind of neat, but it shows it shows that even technically humanoids are in, it says rare, but they're in, look, Keeland and the Ulick states. I mean, they don't have any in the county Ulick, which is kind of weird. And none in Selene, which makes sense. But and here's the Valley of the High Folk doesn't have any either, but there's a lot of places where there's a lot of them roaming around the Great Kingdom. The Bone March, of course, a ton, and then, and the Bone March probably the most of all here. Wild Coast has a lot. Geoff, Starrish, Yeomanry look like they have a lot. We know All has a lot of, from Mike has a lot. So, hey, long shot. So, it's cool. If anyone knows who did this, I'd like to give them credit for it. But it's a neat map. Someone did it. It's one of those mystery maps. So, all right. Let's talk about giants. So I guess the base is hill giant, and then you go below that and you go above that, right? So the hill giant's the standard, below that's ogres, others, above that.
That would be the ordning, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The giants are in order.
You know what? I don't have my light on. No wonder. I was like, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that.
Which I know is a Forgotten Realm thing, but it does make a lot of sense. It's always been the giant's powers has pretty much been related to size, no less.
Yeah.
The tallest giant on down.
Yeah, with the one exception, and that is that frost giants are 15 feet tall, and fires are 12.
That's true.
But they're switched.
Because fires more resemble dwarves.
Yeah, fire giants are 3 feet shorter than frost, but if you flip their sizes around, then that makes sense. That's the only exception I know. Because then you got clouds, and then you got storms, which are really tall. And below that, stones are in between with frost and and hill giants. But then there's a lot of other ones. A lot of the countries would say, have humanoids, hills, forests, and mountains near them, radiating the core. Exactly. So, all right, the standard hill giant, right? And this is like, and I want to address a question I got on one of my posts. So now that looks like a caveman, right? That's probably when you look at
Yep.
G1, that's probably not the right picture for it, right?
Probably
G1
not.
was much more civilized. Like here, that's a G1
Yeah,
picture,
they had actual weapons and stuff,
right? And here's
not clubs.
one of my favorite pictures. There is the female hill giants making So yeah, looking more very civilized in those pictures. So I think that picture in the monster manual is a base roaming giant in the out in the zone.
It's definitely not a play. The setting is awesome. It's definitely just the construction of it's immense. And then, like, how long have they been established there? That thing didn't pop up overnight, you know?
Right. That's exactly correct.
Especially not in giants.
Yeah.
They're big, so yeah.
And if they didn't build it, they took it. Who built a giant-sized
No, but they
building?
must have built it for their own needs because it seems to be
giant-sized.
custom built. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's right from the first monster manual. So someone said to me, like if we were doing it in the South, in the Olman lands or in jungles, what kind of giants would there be? And I said, I don't know if there's things that are set there, but you can make a jungle version of a hill giant or jungle version of a verbeeg or an ogre very easily. Just make it into, they've adapted to the lands and the terrain,
That
and maybe
makes
they live in a
sense.
ziggurat somewhere that they've, or
They seem to be the lowest altitude giant, right?
yeah,
Base giant. We'll call it a base giant. I know
yeah,
there's other varieties, but
yeah,
That's
so like
also
you
an
said, they
interesting
adapt.
fact that they are so big they can dominate things fairly easily, and still they live in the most remote, kind of out of the way places.
Well, I think it goes back to, if we want to talk about Neolithic era in human history, mammoths had no chance against humans, and they were huge, right? Because the humans are attacking in numbers. So if you have
Who,
10
who didn't have a chance against
mammoths,
humans?
mammoths,
Well, yeah, exactly. They got extinct. Yeah.
right? And I'm just saying, one hill giant comes up against 10 guys armored with spears. He may take out 4 of them, but he's going to die, right? So maybe that's part of it. It's not a numbers thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
they're being that's definitely a possibility. We have that they meant that they have been around for a long time. So humans have been hunting them and competing with them for a long time.
One
So
of my
so
favorite
that yeah.
pictures. Yeah, but I think that once again, the difference between some roaming hill giants, roaming ogres, and the steading is number one, a strong leader and organization, and number two, organization. Right?
Yeah.
It makes a whole bit
Well,
of
that
difference. A
that
charismatic
wins.
leader.
Organization wins almost
Yeah.
all the time, so to speak. The better organized you are, if you have the numbers and the organization, you win. That's usually the case in nature and everywhere, so to speak. So we can assume that probably holds true in GREYHAWK too.
Yep.
If you have the numbers and you're able to cooperate and organize together, you win. That's how you humans can win over a dragon or whatever, so to speak. So by organizing, yeah.
Yeah, Sam, you're dead on, man. Anything in combat, anything's possible. And that's another thing that
Mhm.
you know what? I didn't bring it up. I need to bring this up real quick here. Give me 1 second. Since we're on this topic, and this I think, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, because I couldn't go through it all the way, but this is let's go back and give Jason his props, right? This is the
Yeah.
Nosnus saga, right? From the studying of the Hill Giant Chief that he did. And look, this is 2020, so it was not that long before he passed.
Yeah, a lot.
You want to go if you can, and once again, if you need the link, we can put that up here. I would just read through this, And there's really cool things. And one of the things that Alan said was he loved the way that Jason depicted shamans and other powerful characters. And I think that is the difference between it's a hill giant and the Monster Manual 1 and and a double specialized hill giant with not with a club but with a freaking broadsword or right and with a couple magic items. You got a whole different ball game there, and I think that's something that we always overlook. So not Greyhawk but Eberron. Keith made the ancient continent Zendrick like the immediate jungle or Mountain, which was once had a race of advanced Cyclops. That's cool. Same could happen in Far South Arc. I agree. Hendel, that's great. Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. You can do all sorts of things, and it's your game and your creativity, and that's what I said to him. So yeah, and he calls him Nosner, chief of Thangs, master of Nidaros, greatest of all hill giant steadings. Trondheim and the tongue of the frost giants, balanced on one foot in the cold dark of night. I mean, Jason really
Cool.
had. This is a really good story. I'm so glad that Alan reminded me about it. So I would, and it talks about all the characters that are in this steading. Like here, Zervan, the ambassador from the Cloud Giant Confederation. You got to remember in that very first G1, there's Cloud Giants in there too. I mean, it's disgusting.
They
So
had some guests.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, lots of guests for the party. So it's a really worthwhile go through all this, and it goes on for a long time. There's a whole bunch of parts to it. So and I hope it stays up for a long time, the Hall of the Mountain King. But I would take a look. Hey, Chuck, what's going on, man? I would take a look at this and enjoy it from someone who's dearly departed from us. Just to note that his many accomplishments. I think this is his too, and we can reference this as we go. I thought I had it in here. Oh man, here it is. Is this his? The Giants of Earth catalog? Someone did this. This is last updated in 2005, and this has all the Greyhawk locations of every giant and published source.
Okay.
This is
You can get that same reference on the front page of Cannon Fire, by the way.
okay. Maybe that's where this came. Maybe that's where they put this.
Not as neatly formatted as that. This is one of Rich's maps, site maps,
Oh,
and that has all the points. And
very cool.
you can click on the name. You could, Nosner, you click on the name, it'll show you where on the map he resides. And then on the right, it has the Jason Zavoda index citations of what books he's in.
There's a lot of references to Cannon Fire and Earth Journal in here too. I don't know if mine's complete or not, but this was in the folder from the last discussion.
2005, that's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's a lot that could be added to that list.
Yeah. It's a good start point though if you want to take a look, and see where. That is. I was so glad. See, that's why I don't ever, just like my papers, I don't throw anything away. I keep all the folders, and I had to go down the stairs of my old machine and dig out Legends of Lore. I think it was 81 or 82, and pull that up, and then we had it. So yeah, that's the cool thing about. Hey, darling. Thank you. I'm trying to find your shout out here. Alrighty. Please follow Darling. Thank you so very much. We are talking giants and their kin. So please sit around. We got some classic D&D reprint giveaways, and then we will raid into another great Greyhawk community person in the stream team if they're on. If not, we'll find someone else, but more than likely we'll find someone in the community on. And we're just talking now. This is Jason Zavoda's Hall of the Mountain King off of his blog post. Jason, how many years has it been? 2.5? Maybe more than that.
December now. 2 years ago, I think.
Man.
Yeah, I think so.
It's crazy. Hey, okay, it's good to see you.
So it's it's 2.5 soon. Then I think. Yeah.
That's So he's Jason is missed.
Yeah.
All of us didn't know about it for a couple months, unfortunately. But he has a whole saga from Nosnra, the Hill Giant Chief, here from G1. I suggest you read it if you need. Can someone else, because I'm on a separate machine, could someone link this? It's Jason's Road to Hall of the Mountain King blog spot, and If you can't find it,
I'll link it
thanks,
here.
Anna. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
there we go.
Yep, awesome. There it is. Bookmark that and enjoy that really cool stuff. All right, so Mike,
Yeah.
Hill Giants are the base. We go above and beyond. So above and below, or you want to talk? What? So for you, with all your gaming and all, I know your love of creatures like this. Like, what stands out to you? Like, or what excites you with Giants? Or
Giants. Well, what I find interesting is that ogres and hill giants are very close. I mean, literally on the list, they're pretty close to each other in power. Uh, and I think they both have the same like gods, Grolantor, Vaprak,
Vaprak's my favorite.
even Erythnol, perhaps.
Yes, good catch.
Um,
Absolutely.
so if you see one, you're probably going to see the other, right?
Right.
In a module or otherwise, or encounter chart. Hill giants and ogres almost seem, and they're both very adaptable, like you were saying earlier, to whatever. It's not just hills. It could be jungle. It could be temperate, tropical hills, whatever. So in that, yeah, I like the low level giants. When you get up into the higher giants, and I've ran this recently. I ran the G series recently, and it was the 5e adaptation from Tales from the Yawning Portal, and I got through the first two modules. I tell you what, it was a slog, just like you were saying, earlier, like the big room and the steading and all that. But I like the lower level giants because I think maybe they're more manageable for a low mid group, right? If you're dealing with frost and fire giants, you got to bring out high level characters, I feel.
True. Ah. So my other announcement. No Walker. I'm back to a cane. There you go. Back to the cane. So not a bad thing, but just one day at a time here. The seat's too close. Let me slide this back. Okay. Awesome. See how long I can stay standing here. Yeah, that's a good point. Ettins also serve Galanter. Yes, you're right there, Sam. Ogres will honor Galanter as well as Vaprak, and Earthnol has an ogre aspect as well as a troll aspect. Let's talk about ogres and their close cousins, which there is one that they slot in, and it's kind of a joke in between. They slot these in Monster Manual 2. They're some of my favorite because I think they make some sense in some rural areas. So we go here and we go a standard. This is Monster Manual 1. This is your standard ogre, right? But then you get these guys in Monster Manual 2, right? Your Verbigs. A lot of people always forget
the name.
It. Yes, yeah, very big. Yeah, I love the Verbigs. So, what's up there, old? Thank you, Michael Clark. Just my frost. Oh, all right. So I'm gonna risk. Michael Clark must be watching or saw the ad. So, friend, he was on last week. He just sent me something in Discord. So I'm gonna open Discord on mine so I can show it on the stream later on. So, and right with ogres, I mean, go food chain. Trolls and ogres are kind of like on the same plane, right? For the most part, whether they work together or not that's immaterial. But lies. Oh, Michael, that's you. Hendel Boloff is you. I'm sorry, Michael. I didn't realize that was you, man.
Awesome.
I should have known that from last week because you said I'm in Denton, Texas area. Oh my God, Michael. Good. Thanks, man. Yeah, we're gonna share that. Thank you, man. Duh on me, man. I apologize. Yeah. I'm really glad you're on. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's not enough time in the day here. So, hey Rob, good to see you. So let me pull that up. But I don't know if trolls belong in this discussion, Mike and Anna. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think trolls definitely belong in this, and in a way, I see the Giant King as a distant cousins to humans and humanoids and all of that. Meaning they clearly have the basic anatomy, and the humans are and giants are just like big humans or big. So I definitely see them as and in my Hawktail rules, they're all humanoids, so to speak. They have the bipedalism and two arms and a head and sometimes two heads because some of them are weird, like Ettins and stuff. But those are the ones that are. But and I can see that some of them are like Fey reference. Some of them have other taints that have happened through the years, so to speak. So I see them as an offshoot from humans, or humans are just one part of the family. Meaning, just look at real world biology. You have an analogy. Go back 100, 200,000 years, a couple of million. There was like a whole menagerie of different humans and human-like creatures. So we are just the last one standing with the great apes, and I can see a fantasy version of that, so to speak, where humans fit in, and somewhere the giants are fitting there, somewhere ogres and their crossbreeds that then become viable over times and stuff like that. That's where I can see both trolls. I think definitely are on that tree there somehow, so to speak, and just like ogres are and the giants are and then you have the other ones that are think are we need to mention them because they are kind of related, but they are way more from the outer planes, and those are things like hags and stuff like that that are and ennies and stuff like that that
You
are
think hags are giant related also?
not directly. I would put them different because they have their roots in my opinion on other planes, but then have come back, fertilized back into it, so to speak. But they are kind of distantly related because they have the basic anatomy. We still have the humanoid anatomy, but they clearly have more magical powers. They are more influenced from other planes. They have outer planar stuff, so to speak, that and that is also arranged because we have augur magi. Are they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
exactly? So we have others. So I want to just tell people keep that in mind because you need to figure out how if you want to or if you feel the need to, you can start classify them where you want them, so to speak, where they come from, how their culture, how they interact, and so on and so forth. Or you can just skip it and say, well, it's a hill giant or it's a fire giant. But to me, they're definitely related, whether that's ancient, planar travel, all sorts of interesting stuff, so to speak. But they definitely belong in the humanoid group, and then there's like a giant group, and they're giant kins and stuff. So they belong in the same. They're on the same tree of life, so to speak, all of them. But some of them are having weird influences from other places, and they
Yeah,
might, yeah.
I was gonna say trolls feel like they are some kind of mutated giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They have been too far along in some weird place where you get screwed up, so to speak, or something.
Well,
Yeah,
you have all the derivations of trolls that are giant trolls, giant. You have a hill giant,
exactly.
a troll cross. You
Yeah.
have you have an Etten and a troll cross. All those.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I see them. They are related, so to speak. They're distant related on the
Evolved.
same family
Oh,
tree as humans and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
So with ogres and you brought up ogre mage, and I see like they go right in the monster manual they make a major mistake where
Okay.
he says Japanese ogres, which makes says no.
Yeah. But there was the part when they wanted to sell the Oriental adventures, and it was the fad at the moment to have Oriental.
This
But
is
and of course you can run them that way if you want to. If you have an Oriental theme campaign, you can say that that's the ogres from that part
yeah.
of the world that has that theme can
Well,
go.
it
Yeah.
comes from that lore, right?
Yeah.
But I would say I don't see any why there's an Asian influence at all. My ogre mage are part of the ogres in my game. You
No,
know what
but
I mean?
yeah,
It doesn't they don't
and
have
we
to
can,
be. Yeah, it's
yeah, and
just
we
like
can
having me have
also
a Rakshasa.
yeah. Yeah, we can also see that there's a lot of Nordic influence, both the trolls and the
Yeah.
giants and stuff like that comes very much from that kind of there are other parts too, but there's definitely a strong giants, trolls, and similar hag-like things and stuff are common in Old Norse mythology and stuff. There were various things that can come and rip you to pieces or lure you out in the
Yes.
forest, and they will kill
Rip
you and
you
stuff. So
up.
Yeah. So they're part of it, but you can the way I see Ogre Magi is more like a cultural thing. Those are the shamans of stuff, so to speak. So they're not biologically different, but they are the ones that have learned and acquired and are skilled and either different culture or something. But yeah, so I haven't used them much in the recent decades. So, but those are ideas that I'm toying with, so to speak.
Well, that's another point is that
Yeah,
these all humanoids, and I've been doing this for a long time. You need to have, whether it's a witch doctor, shaman, whatever you're going to call it,
yeah.
soothsayer. You
Hmm.
got to have those if you want to have any, just in my old school, any chance of throwing something against a party with spellcasters. Because if you don't, then it's going to be
Yeah.
it's
And
a
that
slaughter
might be
fest.
one of the reasons they were late learners of magic and stuff. That's why they
Yeah.
almost went extinct. That's an interesting hypothesis.
Mm.
Now they're learning and God help the humans if they can survive long enough to learn, then they have both the size, the skills, and so on to dominate. But then you have another part, meaning how fast do they breed? That's the other part in order if you want to be successful as a cultural species, whereas any species that the amount of offspring you can put into play is one of the vital reasons for domination, so to speak.
Well,
And
yeah,
giants are
yeah,
big, so they don't put that many kids so they are slow breeders in that sense. So that might be another
very
thing
much
that,
so.
yeah. But the Earth is big, so there might be places where they still dominate.
Yeah,
So if you go far west or something, that might be places where the giants are still the dominant humanoid force, so to speak, rather than humans or demi-humans. So yeah.
yeah. I look, and not to say I'm doing it the right way, but so
You're
it's
doing it your way, and
I'm doing it my way.
for you,
Absolutely.
it's right, and that's but I think that's the advice for every DM. Do it the way you feel it's right, for your players. That's the best rule possible, so to speak.
Michael keeps on sending me these great picks, and I keep on. Now I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I gotta do this one
Yeah.
too. So
But one thing that I think that I've used giants often is saying that I use and other especially evil rulers who are ruthless, they use giants as big mercenaries in their unit, so to speak. They lure them in, they give them they treat them royally, and they become like champions of their cause in that sense. So that's where I can find a lot of them. So I don't have that many giant communities in Greyhawk because they would probably not be tolerated, but there's still a room for them. And take all, for instance, ogres and half ogres and stuff are part of the population. So in all, it might even be fashionable to be 7.5 foot tall and have some more muscular,
In the South,
brawny. Exactly. So,
not in the
so
North. In the North, they like their horses, and
yeah.
ogres don't ride
Hmm.
horses.
But there are some areas where to actually have some of that part as part of your family tradition, so to speak, and be part in that might be a thing that might be actually seen as a positive rather than a negative. So yeah.
yeah, Mike. So your thoughts on since we're in the below area here with the ogres and the ogre and half ogres and stuff with all and your doings there, because I mean that was basically there was one or two listed, and then you kind of went a little bit more beyond that, correct?
What one or two like named
Yeah,
ogres you're saying?
yeah, and all.
Well, they let's see, the Guard Gazetteer. Uh, in the Living Great Gazetteer, Fred Wining wrote somehow in his wisdom he wanted to make the ruler of all a half ogre, which was kind of unprecedented in three, I think. He could have made him a half orc or whatever. It would have been just as fine. Uh, so I think that and the encounter charts implied that there was a heavy ogre presence there. I don't think there was anything in the original blurbs that said, "Oh yeah, all's a big ogre place." No, mainly, it's just a horse nomad culture. But how they got intertwined, I think, actually started with the third edition book, and then I worked backwards from that.
Okay, but that's fine. I mean, you took an
Yeah,
idea and you ran with it.
yeah, yeah.
And
They're
they are, I guess, a race that could survive on the plains pretty easily. Might makes right, right? Especially at home.
right, right. And also the Ulsprew Mountains, that
Hmm.
little range which is separated
Yep.
from everything else. It's kind of its own little thing. And so the ogres are kind of free to do whatever and multiply there, unaffected from all the giant business on, say, the other side of Ulm,
Right.
the crystal mists and the barrier
Mhm.
peaks and all that.
Yep.
So it's kind of like ogre central there in the Ulspruce.
Yeah. And we have one other thing that we mentioned, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, when there is one interesting thing with the giants in Greyhawk culturally,
Hmm.
is that they are tied into Nordic stuff, meaning their titles, they use Jarl and their names are kind of Scandinavian Nordic sounding, just like the Cold Tongue. So to me, it's there is an interesting connection. So that I think so the way I see it, at what if giants back in the old Sual Empire, so to speak, that giants they were culturally connected somehow. Either they were enemies, friends, allies, or just cohabited or somehow. So my sense is that back then there was some connection between giants and the old Sual. So the Sual that persisted and stayed on in the
Great
Thelonian
time.
Peninsula, the barbarians that speak the Cold Tongue. Their Cold Tongue is related to Giant, the language of the
Mm.
old of the
Yeah,
giants, because they use the same titles and stuff. And I love that
right.
you can connect them culturally, maybe 3,000 years ago. So they are like Indo-European that
Mm.
then became many different languages down the line, and the two survivors are Giant and the Cold Tongue, so to speak, and the others
Interesting.
have changed. So that is and if stuff that is part of the Greyhawk setting that I think is really cool, because then you can take that seed and you can go backwards and you can spin something up from it, and so to speak. So that I think it's an interesting stuff that I think it's basic just because it was cool to use Nordic in the published stuff, but I think it's something you can make something cool out of as well.
It is. I never even thought of it that way, because
Yeah.
they don't use Jarl's only frost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they have and they're called snurre and all sorts of stuff. Meaning,
True.
when I read these modules, both the Giants module and I read about the Barbarians and the Cold Tongue, all these titles and words and stuff that I recognize from Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, and Old Norse and stuff. I don't speak Old Norse, but I speak three
Huh.
of the languages of modern Nordic languages, so I can understand. If I hear Old Norse and Icelandic, I can
So
understand it fairly well.
the Jarl in G2 is his name's Grungnir
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, Grumnir, that sounds Nordic. It's kind of a so that's what I'm saying. They are not exact words in Nordic, but they all sound like they come from there, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, and the same thing with names up in the Theronian Peninsula. They're Heim and all sorts of stuff that is very Nordic and stuff. So
Good
yeah.
old Gary.
Yeah.
Well, and you look at that. I mean, if you go back to cultural and mythical creatures, you have your whole
Yeah.
Greek pantheon of creatures.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we have someone mentioned Titans, and that's another interesting thing. How do they fit into this?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't have
because
an opinion on Titans.
me
Uh,
neither, but they are
Huh.
Greek, I think, from the
oh, definitely.
yeah,
I've never even
yeah.
utilized the
I,
Titan in
I
my
don't haven't used
game.
them, but they are like even bigger humans
They're like
than
25 feet tall. It's insane.
yeah, exactly. They're like
Yeah.
bigger than the giants,
The
so to
go
speak. So,
between
yeah,
giants
yeah.
and maybe the gods.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
absolutely.
giants still feel like they're within reasonable biological size, so to speak.
Right.
But the titans to me feel more like something that comes from the outer planes that is unbelievably big, so to speak, for being in the yeah.
Read Visions too, Sam says.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, storm giants are close to titans. I agree, Rob. I mean, they're 21 feet tall. Yeah. I mean, how often? I'll ask this in chat. How often does has anyone had a storm giant appear in their game? And I'll say for me, probably once
I
every
don't think
10
I've used,
years.
yeah, I haven't used storm giants. I've used hill, fire, and those I think are the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Old, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Yeah, it's just and
They're
everyone
like
can
the
do that.
druids of the giant kin in some ways. I don't know. Yeah.
X1 had one underwater. That's true, Moose. I believe. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just for me. I hit them up once in a blue moon. Maybe a renegade baddie one. Just
Speaking of underwater,
yes.
how do the ogres have marrow
Right,
as the
Marrow. Yeah.
aquatic version, but the only
Ah.
other that I'm aware of giant that's aquatic would be the storm giants.
So if you count troll scrags.
Well, yeah.
Scrags, well,
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Troll.
true.
Yeah. They're one of the most aquatic humanoids
Yeah.
Yeah,
overall, so to speak. Yeah.
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 So
So it's more
and
the
hobgoblins.
lesser giants then that
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah, or
so.
go
giant
aquatic.
kin or something. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Like, where's my aquatic, hill giant maybe?
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so I know of
is it a size thing?
hobgoblin, troll, and ogre.
Yeah.
Right, they're the main ones that come out as far as humanoids that are
Oh,
aquatic
yeah.
versions. No aquatic orcs, but aquatic hobgoblins. So I just think it's just whatever was made up at the time. I mean, there's no reason you
Yeah.
can't make them up.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
just exactly.
Yeah,
They haven't been thought of yet. So
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
there's not a big
yeah,
demand for underwater action, I think.
yeah. Unless you're cannibal.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I'm just saying for every giant variety.
right. That's a good point. It's
Yeah.
absolutely a good point. So let me see here. I got so many pictures here. Formorians
Ooh.
have come could have yeah maybe a lot of them could have. So some things that like stood out to me when I was a kid playing was here's one of my first and this happened at Founders and Legends last year when we were there for 2 weekends at GaryCon. Bringing this back right from I guess Fiend Folio. Or is it Monster Manual 2? I always forget which one. But you run through Tharisden, right? The Forgotten Temple of Tharisden. And there's all these things running around, these Norkers and stuff driving you crazy. And then this thing comes around the corner, and I was like, what? Because it was, when I had Tharisden, I don't recall me reading about, I think I had Tharisden before, maybe not, but this mountain giant which scared the crap out of me. Because it's like a huge, huge hill giant, right? It's like 14, 15 feet tall. And it did 4 to 40 on a hit. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't say that name. Don't say Tharisden. Yeah, but Forgotten Temple Tharisden, I ran it, like I said, at Founders of Legends for 3 sessions. But this just was one of the things that stuck out with me was like, wow, they made some other giants after this first generation of giants.
Yeah.
And then, Mike, do you know of any appearances in the encounter tables of mountain giants at all?
Maybe in the base box. Anyhow, with the Forgotten Temple, this is something I've been reading about recently because I'm running a Paralink campaign.
Right.
So I've been trying to familiarize myself with that module, and yeah, it's crazy because it's really is a big giant Norkers, fest more
Right.
than anything to do with Thariza. You could probably run that module and never even deal with Thariza. You could just be fighting that mountain giant.
That's the thing. I'm looking
Who's
for
a
it right
named
here.
mountain giant, no less.
Yes, a named mountain giant. Here's Thurston right up here, and it's in reverse. I mean, the big fights at the very beginning, kind of like G1. The big fights right at the beginning, just getting inside. And we did the entire first day at Founders and Legends. Actually, day 2 as well. All right, I got to bring up a pick. I know Curtis isn't on yet, but I'll bring up one pick from Thars, or a pick or two from that, because that just always stuck out. It was one of the reasons why I was so happy that I was going to run. I was going to run it at GaryCon 2024. But let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here. It's not the right adventure. Not the right adventure. I got too many picks and they're all jumbled. They're everywhere, all jumbled up. When I'm looking for a specific pick. Oh, here it is. Here's Thurston picks. I mean, all these blow up. These are. I'll show Michael Clark's after this. I mean, look at that. So trivia question. Yeah, because there's a ton of. I made them war ogres. Who took all these pictures? These combat pictures.
When I took a bunch the game I was in, but that's not the one.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, someone took these pictures, and I'm trying. And
They look really cool. Yeah.
Anyone know who took these pictures? The answer is that gentleman right there.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
My good friend Todd Stashwick took those pictures at that day during that fight. And he was like, "Oh, this is awesome, man. Get some good old school hacking and slashing." That was day 2. Day 1, I mean, just getting inside. Look at this. That's day 1, trying to get inside. I mean, it's like, so it took us, Todd hype, of course. Yeah, but lots of ogres, lots of other things. But yeah, that mountain giant, I'm trying to see if I have a pic of the mountain giant. I don't know if I do. Let me just bring this one back up. There he is. You can see him in the background right there, fuzzy. See him back there? He's all the way in the back. It's not a good picture of him, but he's back here, way back here. That's a mountain giant. All the way in the back. Yeah. Look at troll. There was a lot of trolls there too, man. Lots of trolls. So, what level were these players? 9th, 8th, 9th? Yeah. In Thurston. Yeah. Trolls, you got it, Chuck. So that was a blast. Yeah, Anna's in that picture too, man. You're hanging out.
Oh yeah, I was there looking at the game for a while. And
yeah, you're
so
right there. There's Todd, myself,
mm-hmm.
yeah, there's Curtis and Brett right there. What a fun time. Wow, man, time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Time really flies by. But that was one of the things when I was a kid and we first ran Thurston. And we did it, unfortunately, in the correct order that TSR says, not the correct order now that Carlos Lysing and I say, and that is run Thurston first, then run Shokanth. That's my opinion. And that's Carlos's as well.
That's what I plan on doing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I just think it works better because Shokanth is the penultimate ending one, and Thurston can buff you up a little bit if you pick the right fruits and stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So that is the way I think to do it. It's just you got to figure out the maybe do the encounter with the Gnome King in Thurston instead of in Shokanth. So yeah, but that's what I would recommend. But that's a really good one with published source giants outside of the G series. You know, a really good one there, which was a lot of fun. I was honored to run that, but I don't think I'm going to do 2 full weekends at a con back to back and stay there for any time in the near future. You know, so we got to do one last pick. That was Curtis first getting into Fritz, and we know where that all went from there, as we saw last week. So there, okay. Yeah, so the Mountain Giant was cool in that adventure, and I don't know of another published source Mountain Giant. Do you, Mike or Anna? Know another one? No, that's one published source Mountain Giant.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike, do you know a lot about the Return to the Giant? Here, this one. So, did you ever run it? This. Did you ever run this? Oh, geez. I would help if I brought this back up.
Been waiting for you to show something. Yep.
Yeah, this. Did you run Liberation Geoff?
No, I haven't.
Right there in your hand, yeah? Yeah?
Yep.
So,
no, I've not ran it.
But you've read through it, right?
Oh, yeah, I've read through it too.
Some of it, yeah.
They bring in a lot more named giants, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they invent the Chalf area and all of the stuff from there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this book is G4 through 6.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 more like giant castles.
And that was then leading up to the Living GREYHAWK campaign in Geoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
And that module introduces another giant type, which I had to make a note of here. The Horag.
Horag,
Oh yeah.
Horag, Horag.
which is what like
It's
where on
like
the food chain?
a ogre hill giant combination.
Okay, so
it's
it's an ogre
just
hill giant
in between there.
crossbreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have Vodkins or another one
Vodkins.
yeah, Vodkins. Yeah, we'll have a view. Yeah, another one that fits in on somewhere in the spectrum here. So yeah.
Forest giants.
Forest giants, and so
Mhm.
they first appear in the playable races humanoid one book. What's that? One of the splat books, right? And that's where it came in. What's the name of that? It's gonna drive me crazy. Sam will know. It had a similar ogre giant now, Kadeem. Yeah. So Walt, a quick story. Walt almost convinced me to allow him to play a Vodkin as a PC, and then I read up on them, and they're very, very particular to weather. So if it's complete book, that's it. Complete book of humanoids. Thanks, Sam. They, if it's rainy out or it's overcast, they just sleep all day. They can't get up.
Okay, there you have it. Yeah, that's an interesting PC.
yeah. And I was like, I just don't. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Anna.
There's another one, Firbolgs.
Yes.
Where do they fit in?
That's a playable race.
Yeah. Firbolgs are, yes. In fact, I would say that are the Firbolgs, which one's closer to the Goliath? Verbeegs, ogres, half ogres, or Firbolgs? I'd say it's between half ogres and Firbolgs, right? For Goliath. Yeah. Which one do you think, Sam? Because Goliath, they're in 5th edition and they appear and you got to explain them now, right? If you're playing them in GREYHAWK. So which one do you make them? Probably kind of, see, I like the half ogre thing because I've had half ogres in my game since the article first came out. But yeah, it could be any of them. It could be a Verbeeg. It could be a Firbolg, right? Yeah, it could be any of them. So, yeah. But the Firbolg are, what is that, Irish lore?
That might be
Irish or Welsh lore, yeah.
Yeah. The Firbolg don't sound really Nordic, but kind of. So probably British Isles somewhere.
That's what Sam says. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and they tend to be in the original Monster Manual too. They tended to be of good alignment, good or neutral alignment. They weren't evil.
Exactly. And yeah, they also listed. I'm looking at now in the different. They also listing if 4E and 5E they are listed as Feywild creatures too. So they might have a Fey connotation too. That kind of is interesting. So yeah, so more Fey-like giant than regular giants. So yeah,
that's cool history, Sam. I did not know the Firbolg fought on the side of Tuatha. Yeah, against the Fomorians.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Yep. In Irish lore. That's very cool. So cool. Whoops, I think I just exited my.
But in GREYHAWK, who knows?
Do they have any? They don't seem to have that strong GREYHAWK connections. There's not Firbolgs mentioned in GREYHAWK as far as I remember, but yeah.
That's a good question. Through 1st and 2nd edition, I don't remember after when they came out Monster Manual 2. Now Sam says that Vodkin are GREYHAWK. Yeah. So they're more Fey. They're more Fey creatures. I used them once in a blue moon. Like I've had a Firbolg in the forest. Asked a party to do something for them, kind of like a druidic adventure type.
They seem cool. So yeah, they.
Yeah. That's true. Provoking to learn stuff, and hey, add stuff in, man. That was the great thing.
Vodkin are kind of central Flannis forest giants.
And
really? Like Gamboge and stuff?
Like Celadon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And also, meaning Joff is full of Welsh, Celtic kind of stuff from that similar culture. From Earth, so it's from the real world. So Firbolg might fit right in.
Right.
Yeah.
They probably used a lot of those kind in the Living GREYHAWK, and that's where it kind of all went.
Yeah, and Sam, you bring up another interesting elf giants, meaning we have giants that are very human-like. Are there and then fire giants are slightly more dwarf-like. Are there more kind of elven-like large creatures too? That's the yeah.
I'm not sure about that. That's good.
No, me neither. So I don't think I heard of, but yeah. But on the other hand, since we are humans, we see everything from the prism of humans, and that's why there's so many human-like things in
Yeah,
fantasy
yeah, they're not
because
dwarves.
yeah,
Fire giants are just built like dwarves, stocky,
yeah,
powerful and
yeah,
stocky, but they're just so
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Red beards. So here you have furbolgs, Michael, in the Burnial Forest. So that makes sense. And the conifers up there. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Vogue can have a more elven lifestyle, very sedentary, hanging out a lot. Furball mentioned in the Adri Forest and Ivy the Undying. Okay, that makes
Oh,
sense too.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
thank you, Fuzz. That
Yeah.
makes total sense
Yeah.
too.
Great.
Let
Awesome.
me
Thanks.
throw up Michael's pictures here. So this one is Jarl fight, if I recall, the first one, which now there it is. You gotta get along painting these minis, man. I know it's a lot to do. Oh, these are Reapers. A lot of those are Reapers just based. Yeah, these are all recent Reaper miniatures. Yeah, I know. I recognize them because, yeah, very cool. Nice. Really a neat one there. Ah, I know, man. I'm spoiled with Bill. But look, there's over here some dead stuff. It looks like, or whatever. You got an ogre mage there. Two of them, multiple ogre mage. Yeah, a lot of stuff off of this. So that's cool. And then we got this one here. We got this one. You said this one was from Hall of the Fire Giant King. Look at this group. Oh, there's Todd Cumbo. You got the whole, a lot of the crew. Oh, man. Look at that. Kelsey's playing in that one too. Nice. You got Kelsey here. Lots of, yeah, awesome. Very cool. Was that just this year? Errol Otis, yeah. That's cool. Oh, it's last year's. Okay. Man, so much went on last year. That's neat. Awesome. I recognize that picture too on your laptop. Nice. There is another mountain giant published against the Giants in Tika Town. Okay. Did not know that. Thanks, Michael.
Good spot. Yeah, this is a very dense book.
Yeah,
Like,
it's good.
I could learn new stuff in that book for years.
Yep.
It's dense.
The question is, do I ever want to go back, maybe in a future thing where it's just like they rebuild up their strength and all, but I don't know if I want to go through G1, 2, and 3. Maybe I'll just have them do G4, 5, and 6. Do I want to do this again? You know what I mean? Because I never have run this. That's the thing in the campaign. Because then you're talking about, if you got to run G4, 5, and 6, you're talking about years. Or at least a full year of just, if you're running it straight through, and you know how transient my guys
And
get.
it's super high level, I feel.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, 2+ years, Michael. You're right. So it's a question on running it, but it's got some great details in it that we're missing in G1, 2, and 3. Right? Is it just that's okay. They were early adventures, and it got developed up. So.
What I find interesting is the setup for this Liberation of Jeff. You could almost skip 1 through 3.
Right.
Because the setup on this one is that the Cloud Giants are kind of behind.
Right. Okay.
What's going on.
Okay.
And in the invasion.
Okay.
That's just a simplified observation.
Is our Cloud Fortress is one of the 4, 5, or 6?
6.
Yeah, okay.
So the story is they're called the Sakut. They are cloud giants that come from the far west beyond the Flannis. They're younger cloud giants who want to rule the people on the ground. The other cloud giants kick them out and they go east, end up and then they find other giants and
so they're like they're like, oh well, we can bully these people because we got our butts kicked where we came from. Oh, that's perfect.
So they go
Nice.
east and then I could be wrong, like Michael knows better, but I think this has like nothing to do with drow plots or anything.
No.
It's coming from above, not below.
Okay. It's something to consider.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sam says I'm on it.
Yeah. See, for right now, for me, I'm in a holding pattern on like massive. I have no 24-hour streams planned right now, guys and gals. All right, I don't have any of those. I usually have a mega event coming. I just don't right now. I'm waiting. I'm healing up. I'm just running normal content for now. Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to do something big, right? Sooner or later, I'll have to because I have to start playing for Virtual GrowCon at some point. But let's just push this off. I'd love to do this, but it's just one could accomplish a hell of a lot in a weekend. Fueled by joy. You can, Rob, but then you're gonna pay for it when you got to go back to work on Monday. So, all right, all right. Let's take a look at this. So, the encounter tables in here. Let's see what we can dig up on our friends here, and we'll talk about some other stuff. Once again, this has a feel. This came out in '83, and my theory on this is someone whoever did it may have been Gary who did the D1 through 3 encounter tables. Someone at TSR said everyone loves that format. This should be in the same format where it's all over the place, right? And you have patrols, and the patrols are noted, right? Because it has that feel to it. Like, oh my gosh, it's a drow raiding patrol, but now here you got an elven patrol, right? It's just like that's kind of like I think they did in '83. They said keep it to the same style. As you can see, look, it's all over the place with stuff. And then you get down further and further and further. Look, you even got the armor and weapons ashore, aboard barges. And then we're going to get down to, here's all the patrol encounter tables. And then you get down to the random encounter tables. And you can just go through them and just see, what it says. And there's some key ones that are really are humanoid ones. Like here, giants are here. IUs. Giants are, it's only a 1 in 100 shot in IUs, which means I don't recall, no, maybe it's me, but I don't recall a lot of, and I use the evil, a lot of giant usage. Now, I remember a lot of ogres and orogs, right? But I don't remember a lot of shock troops. I don't remember a lot of above beyond that in there. This says just, I use just a 4 and a 1 out of 100, and that's it here.
Let me tell you about I use giant troops.
Yes.
So this is something I looked up right before I got on.
Awesome.
I use the evil, list all the
Yep.
troop amounts.
Yeah.
So in the land of IUs, we're talking the original lands of IUs plus the areas that they took from Foriandi, Crockport, Bradford. They have about 600 giants.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Giant, but that's of all giant types. So it could be anything from a frost giant all the way down to
that's okay.
An ogre, I guess. Now, in the rest of the conquered lands, the bandit lands, Horn Society, Shield lands, tack on like another 400 giants. So that's almost 1,000 giants that are in the army of IUs.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So needless to say, even if you got rid of all the demons in IU's army, he still has some power.
That's Mike. It's something you educated me on. 1,000 giants.
A lot.
That's
a lot.
That's
But that means that there are a lot of them somewhere, so to speak. So they're not extinct.
At least half of them are probably the smaller giants, easily.
Okay. Yeah.
But
still,
you could break it down however you want. Eventually, there's going to be maybe some mountain giants in there. I don't know, or frost giants. Hard to say. Yeah, because it really all he has is hills to draw from.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
A lot of giants.
So here is in '83, Frost, Ice, and Snow Barbarians. Here, look, it's almost 10% on the random encounter table. Frost Hill Mountains on here. and stone.
Nice. Yeah, those charts tended to use a lot of Fiend Folio
Right.
stuff.
Well, that's pretty cool. Ogres are on here too, and look at all the trolls that are on here too. Ice trolls and giant trolls. So you got more Fiend Folio stuff here. So you got crossbred trolls with giants right on the encounter tables.
So I also have the loose leaf Greyhawk Adventure random encounter charts
Okay.
from, you remember the old 2E
Yeah, all the
loose
cards, the
leaf
adventure
things
cards.
they had?
Yeah.
There's some interesting encounters on this. Like the temperate mountains have hillstone giants, ogres, trolls.
Any temperate mountain.
Yeah, that's just generic
Okay.
temperate mountain.
Okay.
Not any specific location. And then like that has a special location down here at the bottom for special encounters, and that's where you get your cloud storm giant for bowl. And shoot, maybe even other troll varieties. But yeah, I don't see mountain giant. So I guess after when 2E hit, some of that Fiend Folio stuff kind of faded into the background.
Well, that's cool. But so that shows that I don't know if that means they were expanding at the time or what's that?
I'm just reading about Norkers in the chat.
Yeah, Norkers like New Yorkers. I don't know what a rock giant is that Sean Allen said. Maybe they're Forgotten Realms. They're stone giants in Greyhawk, but they don't eat stone. No.
Yeah.
No, and they tend to be neutrally aligned, and the best of the rock. You do not want to get hit by a boulder from a stone giant. We've had some catastrophic deaths from stone giant critical hits.
Yeah,
with boulders.
the big
stone giants. So here's a little tidbit I need to relay before I forget. Back in 4th edition, 4E, like we never talk about 4E here, Chris Perkins did a series of conversions of the Giant series to 4th edition rules. He did all 3 of them. And then he added a 4th one called The Warrens of the Stone Giant Thane.
Oh.
And that's in Dungeon 198 if you want to look it up on online. It's
it's 4th edition.
Buy it.
Huh.
But it's 4th edition. But I'd say the lore in it would be good because Chris Perkins knew his Greyhawk stuff.
Yeah.
Back then in 4E, he did all the Greyhawk related stuff.
I'm gonna write that down. After
they took it away from Paizo.
So does that one undo the liberation of Geoff?
No, I think it's just another chapter that they just kind of slotted in there.
Dungeon 198. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, that's a Chris Perkins. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. That I could run a one-shotter. I can multiple shots of something a little different, So, I wish I had pulled up Esmerin from William Henry Dvorak, but I didn't. We can maybe go on his site and take a look at it at the end. So finishing up a couple of other locations. It's really weird here that there are no giants in. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, they're giants in Geoff and Sterich, not Yeomanry here. So they show up on this encounter table here. That may be it. Hobgoblin, Scarlet Brotherhood. No, they're not southern. They're not where it's super hot. It appears in any of these encounter tables. No. Nope. But you're muted, Mike. Muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
My glossography fell apart, is what I kept saying.
Oh,
this is my OG 1983.
Well, it was bound to happen. It lasted 40 some years. Hey, Bellis.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Note, thank you for coming on. We just recently followed each other. J.K. Lurka I got with me the legendary Matt Mayer, Adam Meyer, and I got Greyhawk Mike Bridges. Thursday night is Legends and Lore, and one of our 2 talk shows. And so tonight we're talking giants and their kin. in our GREYHAWK setting. I've
But
been playing it 45 years, so since
yeah,
1980. So it's welcome in. It's good to see you. So
that was a good find, Mike, by the
yeah,
Warrants of the Giant Stone Thane. That is
is it
Stone
cool?
Giant Thane. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it looks
I
really cool. It's
see back
longer
in
than I thought.
4E, back when I was blogging like a madman.
Yeah,
Uh, it was hard to find Greyhawk content, let me tell you. So
yeah.
I write about 4E stuff even.
It's like 30, 40 pages. It's like 38
Yeah,
pages. It's a fairly sizable adventure.
it's
Yeah,
I'm sure it'd be easy to convert on the fly to any edition.
sure. Yeah.
so
Oh,
let's do this. Let's talk about since we got some new people on. Let's talk about some other types of giants. How about that we haven't gotten to?
Mm-hmm.
Wet their whistle. So we haven't talked to really. And here's the cloud giant, right? Which you're saying is the mainstay from the return, the liberation of Geoff. And cloud
yeah.
giants are like 18 hit dice in old school. And then in Fiend Folio appears their cousin, the fog giant, right? Which
Yeah,
yeah,
that's another one.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's another one. Now online. Um, my God, my brain just shut off. Holy jeez. Sam said that they could be possibly partially underwater. I'm not sure about that, but once again, and the Fee Fi Fo Fum guy, that's Cloud Giant, right? Jack and the Beanstalk, that's what the Cloud Giant's based off of. But Cloud Giants can either be inherently good or inherently evil, so you got a 50-50 shot on those. Yeah, let's hit my wrong button. I haven't hit a wrong button in a while here. Mist Giants, Mist Fog, same thing,
So maybe
baby.
fog giants are cloud giants that got grounded. They
Possibly.
were thrown
That
out
might
of the
be.
Yeah.
castle
Yeah.
and they
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
had
they
to
have the
adapt.
aquatic aspect on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but they're still all nasty on that. You take another step up. Well, actually, it's a step sideways. So from my number 2 favorite adventure of all time, we kind of skipped. Well, two A, 2B is Tharsden, Shokanth. We missed one of the biggest, baddest, and strangest, and it's right out of Irish lore, and the Formorian. My gosh,
Yes,
yeah,
that's one of the coolest
they are.
illustrations too. I
Yeah,
love it.
they are mutated, eyes, ears, noses all over the place. You can't surprise them. They do nasty damage. They are ill-tempered, and they're for some reason, are guards in Forgotten Temple of Shokan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of my favorites. Going
They
up,
fit into that kind of
yeah,
modified, mutated kind
Yeah.
of weirdo. Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
Mutants, and if
Yep.
you're muted again, Mike.
No, I was just lip reading mutants.
Yep.
So Sam thinks trolls are descended from Fomorian. So that maybe, I mean,
That's a possibility.
that's a possibility
Yeah.
there. So your standard troll lookalike
Yeah.
from Monster Manual 1 is there.
Mhm.
You know,
And yeah.
but that's a possibility.
Oh yeah, they're part of the same general
Yeah.
group of creatures. So who is descendant of who?
Yeah.
From who? That's
Yeah.
that's a big question. Yeah.
Remember, Sam is the new canon, which is not correct canon.
And I like the idea that Sam, that you kind of connect the dots, because that's what
a
I
little
do
bit.
too. And
Yeah,
mhm.
Anna's big on the dot
I'm
connecting
crazy.
too.
Oh yeah. I love that part. So, but then we have another one that we probably need to put into here, and that's Ettins.
Oh, of
That
course,
we need
yes.
to,
Ettins are
that
awesome.
we need to, the Ettins are, first of all, they are flavorful, they are thematic and cool and fun, and
Yep.
that's and we can also put them into the mutant category of weirdos, so to speak. They don't
Hugely.
necessarily have evolved; they have been somehow, there was a mishap, so to speak, and
Oh, 100%. It's
yeah.
they are great because, as you, someone said earlier, you can have the heads arguing with each other,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yep.
is always fun to do.
Yeah.
But they hit hard, and you can't surprise them.
Yeah, and they also are cool because they have true multi-attack, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're like two creatures in one
Right.
body. Yeah. And we also have a similar to this one. I want to mention it because that's the two-headed troll. That seems
Yeah, the
to
giant
be,
two-headed troll. I don't
Yeah,
have one of
it's-
those in my thing.
no,
Let me see
but
if I-
it's very close to the Edin, both thematically and biologically,
What
maybe, or something. So
Might
yeah.
get a Watchmen
what's
too.
worse than a two-headed Etin?
A
Maybe it. Yeah.
three-headed
A
Etin.
Oh.
six-headed frost giant?
Ah, wow. There we
And that
go.
is
Mhm.
that is in there. Yep.
Liberation.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's not a special giant type. It's a
Yep.
specific clan of frost giants apparently that
Ah.
just
Mhm.
Completely
they just have
mutated.
multiple heads. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So one thing about Michael Hendel, I really dislike the low hit die on the ice trolls, and I changed them. I love the ice troll that's in the original Fiend Folio, but it's too low in hit die for me. So I changed that up. Yeah, and the spirit troll is weird. It's a visible stalker crossed with a troll. Really really sick. Hold on one second here. Let me do this. Why not? I got time. The wonders of multitasking.
There are so many different varieties of trolls through the editions and
Oh
fan-made
yeah, some great.
content that it's comical.
Yeah. All right. So there's the giant two-headed troll. There's the Edin troll crossbreed right there. Now, the one thing I don't like is that they really severely limit the regeneration capability on them. So I would pop it up a little bit back closer. There's a hell giant and a troll crossbreed, giant troll. Here's your ice troll. I said two hit dice, too low. And then here's your spirit troll, which is really weird.
That's weird. Two hit dice ice troll. What size is it?
Large, 9 foot tall.
Well, okay, so it's still giant size,
Yeah,
but it's low
so
hit dice. That
my
makes no
guess is,
sense.
remember, a lot of these were pulled from White Dwarf magazine back in the day, the British magazine. So my guess is they just pulled it right
Oh,
from
that's
there
true.
for someone's
Yeah,
adventure.
Found Folio was largely put together by the British
Yeah,
UK
and the
TSR.
81.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my guess on
Yeah.
that. So, um, but
And it's the weirdo stuff in Fiend Folio too. So yeah.
which is fun, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean
Hmm.
you have to
Is
keep
it
it.
because
No,
it's
no.
two hit dice because they're like literally ice, you just shatter them easily?
No,
It-
in fact, when a limb gets cut off for them, they have to find water and be immersed before they can rebond.
Oh.
So yeah, I think they should be like 6 hit die minimum, same as a regular troll, which is 6+6. You guys can do whatever you want too, but I think that they're a little too weak for that. But in the spirit trolls, I've used them once or twice. There's an article on another troll article of Dragon, which we'll do a troll one on its own in the future, again. And but there's some really nasty trolls, super
Oh.
nasty
My
trolls.
fiendish trolls are
Yeah.
nasty. Yeah.
And by the way, on the page next to it, this is this is your equivalent right here. This tween. Sorry, this is off topic. That
Oh, the
tween.
tween.
The
Yeah.
tween is what advantages in 5e for a first edition character. that's that's what it is. It's permanent. It's permanent. You get to roll 2 dice and everything. But all your allies within 50 feet get to roll 2 at disadvantage, and that goes all the way back to first edition. Yeah, the tween, because it can see into the future. There are Greek multi-headed giants. Yeah, I have that troll miniature that's 6, and like I said, we should have a whole discussion on trolls. I don't want to go into it
Oh
that
yeah.
deeply.
Trolls. Yeah.
I have that 6-headed troll, that abomination troll I call it, with its own custom stats. Yo, Curtis, what's up? Commute audio, good to see you, man.
Hello.
We're talking. We showed the picture of you being Fritz earlier, by the way. You being here. I'll bring it back up, because
Hi,
why not?
Curtis.
Fritz
The San
Winchester
Francisco
rules.
Giants are the worst kind of giant.
That's funny. Fritz Fritz came a lot. Fritz is the only one that leveled from last Thursday's game. Of course, now I can't even see. Damn. There it is. There's Curtis being Fritz.
Oh, Kostiche. Yes, one of my
Kostiche.
favorite demon. Kostiche. Yeah.
One of the greatest covers. One of the great
Oh
covers.
yeah, best of dragon
in
covers, and
Dragon.
one of the coolest demon lords ever.
Absolutely.
And he's so cool in the Gord books. When that's one of Gary, the best thing that Gary wrote is the Graz's court when they're demons, and Kostiche, he just oh, can I kill something with my my big giant warhammer maul or whatever you call it? Yep.
Yeah, that's the article. That's the article, Michael, I use. It's Dragon 141. Yep. The rock trolls super hideous. Yep. Absolutely. That's the exact one. You nailed it. Yeah. That's funny. Well, if you watched last Thursday, you saw all the fun and hijinks of that adventure. So, the patron of frost giants. Well, that's the thing, though. You got to remember, you have Surtur and Thrym from Norse mythology, which are the patrons of fire giants and frost giants, right? So, where do you go on that? It could be either, just depending on your campaign setting. You know. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's talk about crossbreeds a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because here's some confusion. So I always, and it really gets confusing later on when second edition and third edition comes around and the word Orog shows up. So this is an Agrillin, right? And this is in Fiend Folio, and that's an Orc Ogre crossbreed, right? Orc Ogre. But then an Orog is an Ogre Orc crossbreed.
It's cool that you have different terms for these things, like, because then you can give them cultural
Exactly.
homes, so to speak, and yeah.
All good, Curtis. My theory on that is the Orogs are not that. They may have some ogre blood in them, but I have it in my game that the Orogs are the Urukai of the IU's world, and they can level up like adventurers. That's my difference between. And the Grillin is the one that got the knobby fists. They fight open-handed. They got this huge strength. I don't want to mix them, so I keep them culturally distinct in my game. And you guys may do something different. Kind of a Grillins kind of disappear, I think, in future editions, right? And they just go with Orogs. But I love the Grillin, so that's funny, Bob. So
So I use the evil troop charts. They have Orogs and elite Orogs.
Yep.
But I don't think Grillins have their own entry.
They don't.
I don't believe so.
They don't.
Yeah.
And that's where the confusion came about. When I got Eyes the Evil, I didn't have any of the 2E Monster Manual insert sheets. So also the Birthright Orogs were different. That's true, Sam. That's exactly true. So that's why I said, what would make most sense? Well, Eyes is bred just like Saruman has bred these elite orcs, and they got some other whether they're infused with men or they're infused with ogres. Yeah.
Now we know why Ayuz has 1,000 giants in his army.
Makes sense.
They're making Orogs.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I took Dragon Magazine 119 with the cover of Kostichi, the cover. Scott Kent Rayford came out the image. It's called Why the Romans Really Left Britain. Yeah, that's true. I showed it to a Welsh scout leader, and he got upset. Really? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's probably a touchy subject there, right? With because back in the day with the Romans slaughtering Boudica, right, and the Woad back in the day.
Well, there's historic. They usually say that Americans don't know enough about history, and in the other parts of the world we know way too much history. So it's part of that. So yeah, so they can be parts of you can step on, so to speak. So yeah.
We're not talking Lossels today. BB Lossels are one of my favorite menace. Along with Murlocs from World of Warcraft. Lossels are right up there. But
Welsh was one of these, and now anyone from Britain might have to correct me, but my understanding is that one of the reasons we have the Welsh is that they were not conquered by the Romans, just like the Scottish weren't. Those areas were left. Romans didn't find them. They resisted too much, or they were not worthy of conquering.
Doesn't Welsh mean the strangers?
I'm not sure what Welsh. It depends on what language, so to speak. But my guess is that both Wales and Scotland was, for the most part, outside the Roman Empire. So yeah,
that's another topic for another time. Gents.
Oh, they were absolutely conquered by the Romans. There you go. Yeah, I was wrong.
Let's not get into real history here. But
it's but it's.
I just think it was a funny story to Michael brought.
Oh yeah, I think it's and it's part of that. So yeah.
All right, so can I soapbox for a minute here? I started a little while back on spellcasters, and the first one is the ogre mage, right? And whatever you do with the ogre mage, they can polymorph into humans, elves, whatever they want. They can go invisible, they can fly, they can regenerate, and you got to give them more spells that exist. You got to give them almost like a mage spells. Besides a couple that cold ray gives away, but that's fine, and magic missiles and stuff. But you got to give them more spells. So from there, if you have a tribe or you have a group, say you have a group of 6 ogres, or 6 hill giants. One of them should be a shaman or a witch doctor or a healer or something in your group. So how do you, and this is where the person is in the question, how do you do that? You don't need to have a class for it. Well, this is what I do. I take, depending on the race, depending on, like, say it's a frost giant. We'll use frost giant as an example. I'm going to combine druid and my water elementalist, or I'm going to combine, a couple cleric spells and, a couple cold spells. I'm going to create that, and that's going to be their shaman or witch doctor. So they're going to have healing spells. They're going to have a bless. They may have a whole person to stop humans, and he's going to have a Snowlock snowball swarm equivalent or an ice storm, right? And then now I've created a custom shaman, but I don't need to write that down as a class, because I'm going to do that. I'm going to customize it I'm going to use lightning for another one, or I'm going to use a fire elementalist in a druid mix, or a fire elementalist in a cleric mix for a fire giant, right? You're going to have a fireball because they're immune to, they're going to have to be able to throw spells at the opposition that aren't going to affect them. Or I'm just going to make, one of them has a captured magic user spell book, a human spell book, translated it, now they got some mage spells. I mean, that's it. You can do whatever you want, but that's a way to throw in a challenge to your players. I mean, my guys have been playing with me for 45 years. I got to figure out a challenge against them, So that's what I do. There's a whole list of groups invading the Isles over this. Oh my gosh. Hey, Rob. That's funny. So, anyone else do anything with spellcasting humanoids? We're talking giants in particular. Were Furbolgs of Forgotten Realms giant, or they appear in GREYHAWK? They appear in GREYHAWk. Furbolg Verbeeg, and Vokin appear in GREYHAWk.
Well,
Yep.
I see if they're smart enough, they can learn magic like anybody else, so to speak. So they just need to be smart or wise enough to do it. So it's more like on an individual. I could definitely see one of the smartest hill giants around could learn some magic and
That's
wisest.
Like the giants in Norse mythology were big spellcasters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never really played it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, if you really want to get nasty with your giants, why they only get one attack around is for a balance thing. But like a leader, a sub chief, or whatever,
Just
3 attacks every 2 or 2 attacks around, man.
Just give them equivalent of fighter levels, meaning they learn
Well, yeah,
their
absolutely.
warriors, or
Right,
and
for a number rate
then
of
you
attack.
have them. Yeah, then you have the commoners being giant commoners, something for low level characters to go at, but then give the warriors of the giants. They might be a battle for a 10 level 10 or something like that.
That's it. There's things you can do, and there's also so there are miniatures that came out in the 2000s, all those plastic minis that I had no stats on. So here, I'll give you an example, and it's probably 3rd edition. Out comes this mini. It says Brutal Ogre Warhawk, and I'm like, what the heck is that? You know what that is, Mike?
That's Wizards of the Coast trying to brand different kinds of giant varieties.
Right. So guess what?
Hey.
I gave that thing enhanced hit die with multiple attacks on that miniature.
But then you give them cool equipment, meaning give them armor. They're more beefy and can
more
take
gear.
and cooler weapons and stuff like that. They can be formidable.
Yeah, Sam, I meant trademark. Right.
Greg, that's a great question. Not when they're getting 2 to 16 or higher.
Yeah.
Now, if they have a magic weapon, they get the plus to hit and damage on that. But I can't go with strength, weapon specialization, and all that. Can you imagine a a fire giant that's 4 to 32,
I can definitely imagine that.
plus 10 to hit, plus
In
20
Hawktail,
damage.
they will come and cut you in half right away. So you better stay away. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't.
And you
I
also
don't go
get
there.
and the large, they also get like 50 hit points base or something, depending on if they're huge or large. They get like 30, I think, base hit points. Yeah.
Well, if you think of, I always max out hit points on a lot of creatures. So if you have an 11 hit die, I guess that's high for Hell Giant.
Yeah.
That's more. So 11 hit die Stone Giant would have 88 hit points. But now second edition, really use them tomorrow. Lord Fourth, I'm running. I can't. I'm running Karen of the Skeleton King continuation from Rob Kuntz's thing. So as you can see, you're going to have a lot of undead tomorrow. You're not going to have a lot of giants running around in the Karen of the Skeleton King, because we started this before we went to GaryCon, and we haven't done it in like 6 weeks with my group, my core group of guys on Thursday. But there'll be fun stuff Saturday. It's only damage that Anthony Huso uses, so it's generally 1 to 10 plus strength damage. That's cool. I mean, that's a way to do it, Greg. That's definitely a good way to do it. But I prefer a Mountain Giant doing 4 to 40 on a hit. So, yeah. Now, I'm not going to see, Lord Fourth, if you change Rob Kuntz's adventures around too much, and Rob finds out, then Rob's like, what are you doing to my stuff? You can only mess around with it so much.
Don't play it online.
I'll show some pictures at the end if you haven't seen them online of the adventure. So, yeah.
Oh, Giant Undead. That's a good one.
Oh, Giant Undead's awesome, man. There's a lot of Giant Undead miniatures. Reaper's got a whole bunch of them.
And since other humanoids can become undead, so why, of course, giants can become undead too, which undead giant skeletons, whatever, they might be really awesome. Zombies, yeah.
So normally those are considered like special, and I'll throw them in. There's high level necromancers, and they're beyond monster zombies. I call them giant zombies. A couple adventures ago, the Nuclear Meat came across a whole bunch of them, fighting them. Oh yeah, and they're nasty. They only get one attack per round because they're undead. But when they hit just like the same as a giant of the equivalent type. Oh yeah, that's fun. Yeah, definitely, it's a good one. The key, and the key with miniatures and terrain play is, for the most part, I want to have the miniature. So that's just me being OCD, All right, so Mike, Anna, what else would you like to bring up in our last 20 minutes here?
Now we're starting to.
I don't think Bones is on tonight.
I'm at the end of my giant knowledge, I think.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like we've.
Really?
I was thinking, do we have?
We got some stuff
any?
Still.
Yeah. We shouldn't dig too deep into the trolls. That's another one of the.
Yeah, we should really do another one.
We should save them. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we're gonna save the trolls for its own show, because we got a lot.
Yep.
We got a lot of stuff we can do with them.
Yeah. So I was thinking, do we?
Well,
I was thinking we don't have any. Now I'm thinking more like GREYHAWK as a setting. We don't have any areas that is run by more than Chalf, that the conquered part of Geoff. That's the only giant controlled area, so to speak, the kingdom of Chalf, that was created and after they it's the return to, or the aftermath, so to speak, of the G1 to 3. Then they have Chalf. That's the only area run by giants. Then there are giants like sprinkled out here and there for cool parts of an adventure and stuff. But then they don't form kingdoms or have empires, or there's a couple of cities and stuff here and there. So, which to me is weird that they just pop up and there's like a group of them, like Esmerin and others. So, but those are cool from an adventuring standpoint, because giants are cool, that they are awesome to have. But if you look at it from a setting perspective, Chalf seems to be the only area where giants live and prosper and so on.
I will submit this, Anna. I think that there are
I want to be contradicted here.
No, not contradicted. I think that there are hidden giant kingdoms up here. I really do.
That's an interesting possibility.
Yeah, I really think so.
Yeah, that's a cool possibility.
And with the frost, snow, and ice barbarians, I really do. I really think
my last ice barbarian campaign, I was starting to tease around some frost giants on the Tyval Tundra.
Oh, there you go.
That was pretty fun.
Scott, your mind goes into crazy places.
Oh, that's a
We-
good one.
yeah.
Lycanthropes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine those giant werebears?
Yeah,
They will be
we
awesome.
already had a
Yeah.
lizard king that turned into a vampire. Do we need a giant turned into a
Oh,
vampire?
one that are warg giant
Hey,
warg
Tabletop Misfits.
giants. That is another cool possibility. Now, thank you, Scotty, Jeff. That is an awesome. Now you got my mind rolling here. So yeah.
Yeah. The problem is they can't go outside during the daytime. The vampire.
Yeah, but wait until nighttime.
Yeah, don't give Hannah ideas, guys. You're gonna
Oh,
regret
this is
it.
so cool. In
Yeah.
Kelton, you stay inside the walls at night. Otherwise, you're lycanthrope meat. Yeah.
Very true there. Let me
Giant
go.
wolf wares.
Let me
Yes.
pull this up here. That's a good point, Michael.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it real quick on my machine. We'll go to deities and demigods. I haven't pulled that up in a while. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There's the cover. The cover's coming up, but I have so much crap on my computer. First,
The chat's silly.
what's that? Yeah,
I said the chat is gone silly.
yeah. The chat's got a little. It's punch.
It's
drunk.
awesome.
Punch struck from the first.
Mhm.
From
Vampire
the
goats. Yes, awesome.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. All right. This is a bad copy of Deities and Demigods. So if we go to let's see, Norse's second, Monstrous's, right? All the guys. This is from 1980. Anyone, if you don't, my favorite story of all time, The Wild Hunt's in here. It's a beautiful story. Central American, Chinese mythos. Man, this was like ahead of its time, this book. Here's Cthulhu, the bad band now out of it. Without the rights to it. Egyptian. Finnish. I use a lot of Finnish gods. Ukko, everyone knows, is one of my favorites. Leviatur's in there too. The Maiden of Pain. My leaky. There's Leviatur. I can't stay on her. I'll get a 30-day ban there. Here's Greek. They're not Greek. Cyclops. So Cyclops come from Greek here, obviously.
Yeah, they're
Right,
very.
and that's another one we didn't talk about was the Cyclops.
It's
the Titans
interesting
are in here,
theory
too.
that a mammoth skull has a big hole in the front, so that looks like a human skull with one eye. So that might have been one of
Oh.
the ideas that the Greeks got ideas when they saw a mammoth skull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or elephant skulls are the similar.
Interesting.
So that might have been one of the inspirations for the Cyclops. Yep.
Prometheus.
Just like dinosaur skulls. Anyone who saw a T-Rex skull a few thousand years ago might have dreamt up dragons. I definitely would have thought it would be a cool idea. Meaning, we are probably not the first humans who encounter fossils from dinosaurs and stuff. So that's my idea. Where
yeah, considering supposedly the first dinosaur bones were only found in like 1855 or something like that.
Well, of
note,
science have
yeah.
found them, but I'm sure that humans back in history found them back in the day, and that might have been one of the inspirations for dragons.
Right.
Yeah.
So non-human deities here, and it was funny that there's Grolantur. Here's Hill Giant. Grolantur is one of the Hill Giant deities. Let me stand. Oh, anyone knows I had a hip replacement 3 weeks ago. Up and down, up and down. So Hill Giant Grolantur appears to be a huge and powerful Hill Giant. His creed is persecution of all inferior races, those smaller than Hill Giants. And it talks about shamans here. Hill Giant shamans will refuse to admit that other giants are actually larger than they, preferring to think them as equals. That's funny. So, Ettins also worship Grolantur. Yep. And then here is Scorius Stonebones, King of the Rock. I think he just sleeps in the rock, if I recall.
Okay.
So, yep.
How tall are they?
Can he like enter a rock like
He's
magically?
30 feet tall.
Yeah.
I think he can go anywhere there's. He can just like move through rock.
Meld into them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another And this thing.
I love that illustration where they dance around the tree
Oh,
there.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
that is our no,
The,
it's
no, it's
Rolfane Ralphil,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
the elven god,
Yeah,
elven
yeah,
deity.
but I think it's a great illustration. I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a good one. And that's for the Sylvan elves, the wood elves.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's go. Now we got to go to Norse for the others.
Yep.
Everyone knows that if you're a Thor fan, you know that they released Surtur in that one movie. But
They have a cultural appropriation. No, I like it. I have no
big
problem
time.
with it whatsoever. I think it's cool. Yeah, that they used
Loki,
the North. Yeah.
Odie, Fates, Sif, Thor. Here's Surtur, Lord of the Fire
Yeah.
Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So and there's very detailed out. It's very detailed out. A lot of them are here. Thor's detailed out too. So yep. Surtur waits for the day he can lead the Fire Giants to the great battle of Ragnarok.
Yep.
So it's all about that last battle. And according to the mythology, evil actually wins that battle. There's Tyr. He looks like a giant almost as well. I think, is Tyr Forgotten Realms deity, everyone? I think it is, isn't it? Or is that
It
Torm?
might be.
Tyr and
It might
Torm, right? Or both? Yeah, Tyr is
Yeah.
a Forgotten Realms deity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep, Tyr is in Forgotten Realms. So there's that Greenwood pulling from Norse mythology too. And here's Thrym, Lord of the Frost Giants. Now you don't see Thrym at all in like the first Thor movie. You see the king of
No,
the.
but Thrym, I
Yeah.
think, is TSR, or like I'm not sure if Thrym is
I
actually
don't
Old
think so,
Norse.
Anna.
Yeah,
You don't think so?
I'm not sure. Let me see here.
I think it is. I think Thrym and Surtur are both. Yeah, I think Thrym and
Um,
Surtur are both Norse mythology. Yep. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive. Yep. I think you call it Thrym.
Thrym.
Yep. So
Ymir should be the god of the frost giants.
they're not deities of the giants in the sagas, but they exist in the sagas. Sam.
Yeah.
They exist.
Thrymr. That's how it's Thrymr. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, right next to him,
Thrymr.
that we're off on a tangent. This
Thrymr,
is our
yeah.
furt to the right. There was no god of archery for humans in the original Greyhawk mythology early on. Remember how in 1980 when I started playing, there were no gods at all, right? In the original glossography. Here's where we went. Uller was our first deity we used for gods of archery in our game. And Uller was how Walt and all his sons. Walt's name's Pete Moss. He has a son named Compost. He has a son named Mulch. Pete Moss's deity is Uller.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we went right off the bat. Just like Gary Gygax went with Thor and Odin because they didn't have deities made up then when they first started Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Alana, yeah, that's good. Michael, that's good. Alana didn't exist in 1980. That's 83.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm reading the old myth of Thrymr or Thrym, and he lived in the province of Heimdall, north of Jotunheim, and that was Värmland. That was part of Norway back then. Now it's part of Sweden, and it's 2 provinces north of where I grew up. So it's kind of cool. That's where they're supposed to be. So I'm pretty sure there was some Viking-esque or someone from the south say, "Oh, they live up there in the north," so to speak. So they invented them. They're giants up there or something. So it's kind of Thrymr. And it's kind of cool because the th sound that isn't still in English was very prevalent in Old Norse, but it was dropped in the Nordic languages, except Icelandic is the only one that kept it, and English kept it. But German and the other Nordics, they dropped that sound from the. So in some ways English is more Old Norse than Swedish is in some ways. They kept it, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah.
So, my brain did not want to remember it. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is so cool that it's things
Yeah,
that
just going all over the. That's what we do. We tend to go off on tangents, which
yeah,
is
yeah, and
which is
it's
always
so
good.
funny because for me it's interesting. I read it here from one angle, and then I was tortured with it when I was in primary school, and I didn't like it at all. I thought it was the most boring thing ever. So now I need to go back and study studied it for real, so to speak, because we were place names and all that
Let's
stuff when I grew
see.
up. Yeah,
Closing it out. Let's see how many giants are in Joe Block's article. See the Pomargent Jai. How about that?
yeah,
All right.
there
All right.
should be a
Yep.
few, I
Yep.
think, in the
Let's take a look.
Pomage.
And this is Joe Blocks. And if you don't
Yeah.
know this, note that this is my wheelhouse for my gaming. It's right across the way from the Order of Ulick main keeps, all along this border, along the Jewel River, going back to 1980. Here's the Pomage, and so let's take a look at what Joe has developed
Yeah.
here. Remember, he has a great Flan God Crovis here, which I have implemented in my campaign setting. We actually have a champion of Crovis now running around with Crovis's weapon, one of Alan's characters. So let's take a look at that. There's a chart here. We'll see what we got.
Yeah. Phantom NJ, that's awesome. That the Loki is the mother of Odin's horse. Yep. That's
There's a lot of weird
that,
inbreeding going on there.
that must be someone had a
Jormungandr was a spawn of
fun
Loki too.
That might be, yeah,
the
I
serpent,
forgot.
the world serpent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also part of GREYHAWK history. GREYHAWK made a version of those stories, so to speak. So, which I think is really cool.
I see no giants on here.
That's true. Okay.
I see no giants on here. I see a lot of other humanoid tribes. I don't see a lot of giants.
Oh.
Let's see, and there's Crovis. So Adventures in the Pomage. So he has not even a single. Well, nope. Yeah, we'll have to ask him. I mean, I'm not going to wait around a little page next year when we all see him and we all have that seminar with Joe Block. So, but yeah, there are none.
I need to read Prymskvida. That's the story of a poem of Thrymr. Of Thrym. So there is a poem that is part of the old
lore
stories. Yep.
I gotta see it again.
I have them in a book, so a couple of books with the old. So I need to sit down and spend a couple of days reading them because now I'm more motivated than ever, so to speak. I should read them. Yeah.
So let's go. Audience questions, commentary in our last 10 minutes here. And we're going to, do some closing things to show you what's going on the rest of the week. And then we're going to raid into... Bones is not on tonight, so I'm going to pick, on a rare Wednesday, I'm going to pick someone who's going to get a raid of 80 plus that's not part of the community, which is always fun. So, yep. So
yeah, the World Serpent is such a cool idea that lots of fantasy settings seems to have kind of used it or played with it.
Well, it's the World Serpent in because the serpent connects. But is there a World Serpent itself entwining the entirety of Earth?
Well, we have the hang on a second here. I forgot the name of him here. So we have I need to find.
Summons and style 11 episodes, just amazing. Cool. Yeah, lots of places you can go with giants in GREYHAWK.
Oh yeah.
And note that you got a lot of variety. You have a lot of options. You can customize. I say you can even make some of them maybe specialty classes. Maybe throw in a Verbeeg assassin or something. Right? You can do all sorts of things. So I don't think there was a more epic comic book fight. Yeah. That's cool. So any other questions? Questions, comments? Dan's trying to find something here.
Oh yeah, Mokslik. That's Mokslik is the name. It's Moxlik ties into Gallop Dreidel and a bunch of stuff, so to speak, and Drenghus and stuff like that. So yeah, and Keraptis and stuff. So Moxlik is I don't have all where the source. Yeah, it's GREYHAWK Wiki the Serpent. So here we come. I put the. Hopefully I get the link here. So no, that didn't work. So I have to put the.
The serpent is Vecna lore? Oh, please no. Giant constructs. Well, I mean, you're going in the realm of golems there, Lord Forth, then, right? Because most golems are giant, and they don't have anything to do with giants. They're just big because they can be intimidating.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look what I did last Thursday night. They at the end.
Here we go. Here is the.
We fought an iron golem, a mithril golem, and a flesh golem.
Yeah, GREYHAWK Wiki. There is the serpent. Yeah.
The serpent.
Yeah, and named Moxlik in some parts. So. Yeah, it's part of Vecna and stuff. So yeah.
Part of Vecna from where?
Let's see here. Vecna Handler, the Revenant, Manual of the Planes, Epic Level Handbook.
Oh, it's from the
Core Beliefs, Vecna.
Mike's thingy's hoarding. It's from the graphic
yeah,
comic.
and Worth Journal 27,
Okay.
Dragon Magazine 256, Vecna Reborn, Dragon Magazine 348.
Okay.
And so on. So yep. And Moxlik is the.
What's the tie-in there?
It's there's some cool tie-in, and I've added a bunch of more tie-ins to it because I think it's cool. And look at the Iusian heraldry.
That's got
from old school.
Right. It's got a serpent.
There you have him.
Okay.
He's there. So there's definitely GREYHAWK tie-ins here. So that's why I have him. So that was part of it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Giant empires before the whole human migration. Don't know. That could be an entirety discussion of theoretical on its own.
Exactly. Moxlik taught magic to Vecna and Vecna's mother. So, yep. There are some cool tie-ins. And Ius has it on his shield. Lots of cool. That's too many coincidences for me.
Yeah.
I have to run with it. So, yeah.
For me, I'm Vecna'd out. Too much Vecna. That's okay.
No, but Vecna was just one of the things.
I understand that, but I'm just like,
this goes before Vecna. Moxlik
yeah, exactly,
has been around
Sam.
way longer. Yeah.
All right. Vecna's everywhere.
Oh yeah, but
I know.
Vecna was one of the stuff that came out of it.
You're gonna have a ton of Vecna in Stranger Things 5.
Yeah.
A ton of it.
So. It's still on the Iusian shield though. Long before the Vecna stories.
If it's Moxlik.
Well, call it what you want. It's the serpent that bites its own tail.
Okay. You know? Oh, is it biting its own tail on that?
Oh, yeah. It's the world serpent on the Iusian shield. I think someone just put it there because it was cool. I don't think there was any thought about it. It was just cool. But put 2 and 2 together and you can start spinning interesting things. Yep.
I don't, Michael. I don't need to go there because I'm not talking about Earthland. I'm talking about there's a lot of ancient Flan stuff going on, but I'm not talking about, I just had enough. I've had, you can only go to the well so many times. It's just, it's beaten with a dead horse, man.
Oh, well, but Vecna to me is one of the things that it led to that I'm not particularly, but I'm interested in Vecna too, and Vecna can do a lot of cool stuff with Vecna, but what else Wizard of the Coast have done with Vecna, well, cherry pick from it, but it doesn't disturb me, so yeah.
All right.
And Sam and Gary Julian, you guys wrote an awesome kind of PDF on overview of the Vecna lore, which is fantastic. I just need to figure out where Tyrus is. Yep. So Samuel, if you could figure out where Tyrus is for me, so yep.
I know. I know it leads in a ton of directions. I don't need to bring it into my game.
High Portis, thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tyrus is where High Port is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yep.
So we had this was a cool conversation. We went all over the place. Curtis Vecna, the horror of the new canon. Yeah. So that's funny, Curtis. So this was a fun discussion. We went over a lot of different things, and like I
Yeah.
said, you can do whatever you want in your own campaign. Add whatever you want in regarding giants. There's a lot of published source out there for Greyhawk. There's a lot of places where you can get the original monster manuals, but it doesn't matter what the edition you're playing. There's a lot of information you can find. Um, so can you hear me? Are you staying
Yep.
on, Sage? Are you
Perfect.
staying on for now on your channel? Because I'm gonna rate. If you are, I'm gonna rate into you. That's what I wanted to know. So stay on.
Cool.
Oh, you're about to rate out. Okay. All right. Well,
Find
sorry.
someone else.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. Great. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. If you're gonna stay on, that's okay. If you're rating out, that's cool. I was gonna. You rate into me now then, because we're gonna be on our 10 minutes. Yeah. Come on, Sage. Come on in, and then we'll go into another one. There's some giveaways. That's awesome. No, Praetors. What's he got? Two people on? No. Praetors Rejects is on. I don't even see him. Now, Jeff, Scotch Jeff, give me whisper to me or put the name of your friend in chat. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Sage. So, all right. Okay, let's do some shout outs here, and then we'll get moving into what's going on the rest of the week. Fun stuff. Mike, what's going on with you, man?
Well, I got a new comic up on
Oh,
GREYHAWK.
let's see it, man.
There you go.
Oh, awesome.
It's current events.
Yes.
Tasha.
Oh, that is so cool. That is awesome. Good one, Mike. That is a great one.
That's awesome, Mike.
Oh, that is so good. That is fantastic.
Did they really kill off? Did they really do that, Mike?
They stopped all the
They
developments.
axed.
Exactly, they
Axed.
just axed
Oh,
it.
Planescape?
90% of it.
That's Planescape, right?
No,
Sigil?
no, but Sigil, the VTT, the 3D
VTT.
VTT, that just killed it. Basically, you can still access it, but it's barely functioning. Will not
Thanks,
be anything
Sage.
with it, and they just gutted it. Yep.
I was definitely going to hit you up, Sage, there, and really appreciate the rate. Thank you so very much. Anyone who came in with Sage, it's exclamation point draw. We're going to do a giveaway shortly. It'll be two. Your pick of two classic D&D reprints. If you have not, if you don't have, you're going to get the new World of Greyhawk Gazetteer, which really tells you everything you need to know about Greyhawk. And our option is the Treasures of Greyhawk, one of my favorites. Compilations of a ton of adventures in it, and then some other options there. Of course, I was going to just look for options for friendly faces there. But let me put your name in. So, Mike, what else you got going on?
Oh, running my Pearland campaign
How's it
on
going?
Tuesdays. And playing in a Radiga City campaign with Rich, old Lord President himself.
Nice. Yes, I have a copy of Liberation of Geoff, but not as a giveaway. Not as a giveaway. I have my own original copy. Yeah. Yep. Wow, what a name of that. All right, let me see if I can find them there, Jeff. I'll take a look. So, yeah, I really appreciate it there, Mike. Thanks for coming on. This is a great idea for you, I don't know if we'll do trolls immediately next week, but we'll do it within the next couple of weeks. I think that's a really good topic. because you can go all sorts of different directions and create all sorts of crazy trolls. I mean, I could talk about since the last time we've done one, I created the pox troll, which I think is genius.
Fox troll.
Mhm.
Yes, the pox troll. Dale hates it because they are immune to fire. But then again, if you played Pathfinder Kingmaker, there's an entire adventure line chain in that where all the trolls are immune to fire. The only thing you can use is acid on them. So yeah. So you like that Tasha series? That's cool. Let's see if we can get a hype train going here before we get out of here too. So, all right, Anna, what's going on?
I'm deep in a rabbit hole, and I promised myself that I'm. Oh no, it's a good one. It's a productive rabbit hole. So yeah, so I've set out to. If you been to my Friday map streams, you see I'm working on the large scale maps, and I realized that I need to make this solid and working, and I've been not working night and day, but I've done 40, 50-hour weeks, and it's starting to come into. I need to battle test it properly and to do everything so I know it's good and I can keep doing it, so to speak. So and I just been incommunicado almost because I want this to work and I want it done because it is the next generation of GREYHAWK maps. So I'm sorry for being kind of away from things, but I need to get this done so I can get it started, get it kicked off, because so much depend on this. So that's why I wanted to do, and I'm also very, very, very pleased with the results. So I expect another week or two of me getting my head deep into this, and then I can start doing it like routinely once it's all set up and I've covered all my things and I know that things are working. Then I can start being more. So I'm a little bit behind on emails and stuff like that, but I'm going to now I'm starting to import them in together, because if I do one area there is overlap and I want to make sure that I can overlap another one and I can zoom in and so on. So I'm covering all these bases to make sure it works, and there's a couple of kinks that I've managed to sort out, and I think I'm soon done. Within a week or so I'm done with all the kinks and problems with it, and I've solved them all, I hope. So this is 3D programming on the the most difficult part I've done so far, so to speak. And there's some weird quirks that I never thought would happen, and now I'm almost solved them all, so to speak, and at least solved them good enough. And so it's basically the tricky bit is to know when you should correct for what error, so to speak, because then you mess with the source data and stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff to make sure it gets done properly, because you have to make sure that all the rivers and the lakes are the same elevation from one area to the others, and yeah, so it otherwise you do get these weird kind of elevation differences and stuff. And that's really, really tricky. But I'm starting to get there, and it's going to be cool because now I can make the Flannies all over again and Hipmona Land and a bunch of others. So yeah. So that's the that's the biggie one. And I'm just going to do this. Even if it takes me 2 more months, I'm going to do it until it gets done. So I'm hell bent on it now, because that's
You're
the
committed.
next step. Yes, exactly. I'm fully committed. So yeah. So expect there will be another technical deep dive into this once I have a little bit more. I figured out the last problems, so to speak. So yeah. But it's smaller bugs are left, not the big ones. The big ones are solved. So these are more smaller ones, so to speak. Yeah. So Friday will be a mapping stream, and there will be more White Plume Mountain and stuff like that in the making here. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. And what time is that start normally? Is that 9 Eastern?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
6
okay.
p.m. Pacific, so 9 Eastern. Yep.
Excellent.
On Twitch at annabmeyer.com. Hang on a second. I'm going to
please link it.
put the Twitch. There we go.
So here's what's coming up now. I don't have next Sunday. I'm not sure, because I'm trying to get a special event going on for Gavin next Sunday night. But let's go. We got 2 games coming in between. Here's some terrain. So this is more Cairn of the Skeleton King, right? So I got the mapping all set up. I also got the background for Saturday here. I got to multitask because I can't move around that much. So there you go. Oh, that looks pretty inviting, doesn't it? All these statuary
Yeah, it
everywhere,
looks
and yeah,
really,
it's.
really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's set up
Yeah.
as close as I can get it to his maps on the inside for the next
Mhm.
area that we're gonna do. So
How
that
many
now
hours would that take you to set up stuff like that?
this well, I had my son helping me. Thank you for the hype train,
Mhm.
everyone. Um, yeah, thank you, Mr. Snipes. I'm gonna say this teardown setup this time with him helping me. Um, Probably this took an hour and a half. It wasn't that long. We got
Yeah.
his system down because
Mhm.
my son gets transient after a bit. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
But
Mhm.
he's going to help me Friday because I got to get up another terrain for. Um, I got to get more terrain for the game on Saturday. So this is some pictures foreshadowing of us going further into the Cairn of the Skeleton King. I'm not
Mhm.
sure what sponsor are going to give away. I may if Michael Zudrak's on, I may push him a little bit more because I know he's got the Kickstarter. But whoops, I hit Builder Master Crafters. That was a wrong shout out, everyone. Sorry about that. But no big deal shouting out Bill. Just remember that Frog God's got that Kickstarter. I backed it fully. It's cool. It's the special rules from Bill Webb that are coming out. Bill gave me this copy at GaryCon, personally signed by him. So very nice of him to do that. But it's a full box set. So, Karen the Skeleton King by Rob Kuntz. We're continuing that on Thursday night, and then Saturday morning, big game. So they once again, I don't know if I love the name of the adventuring group, but I always let everyone choose their own because why not? And so they've called themselves the Champion of Avon. We'll see where that sticks. So I got Coco, I got Sir Timothy playing a brand new character for the first time. He's playing a fire elementalist. Korg is back, Witch Starfall's back, and Bird is back for the first time in like 8 months to play a new character for her. So in this low level group, and that'll be at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So yeah, let's hope nothing bad happens between now and then. But Bird is supposedly back in on this game. Yep, Avon, you got it, Jeff. The Avon ladies are calling. You got it. Bones can't make this time, and Sage, who's on now, can't make it. But they're going to be welcome back in. And like I said, we do West Marches style. You guys all know that. There may be room for one other person. We'll see. Probably just go with these 5 and 1 NPC. Who no one knows anything about the NPC yet. So a triple class fighter clerk mage. All right, so that's what's up. Sunday night we'll have a Gabbin, normal 7 o'clock time, and we'll continue from there. So, all right, so the giveaway. Thank you for all the support. Exclamation point drawing to get in on that. Last call and your choice of 2. All righty, anyone's eligible, and then we're going to do that right into Scottish Jeff. Who I see Ashley on there, Ashley and Shelly. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's a small stream. And they only got 227 followers. Why don't we give them a hand here? Yep. And Jeff said that he was at GaryCon, which is cool. Anything that new people that are interested in the community. So, yep. Just make sure it's exclamation point drawing. You got it. All right, here we go. Thank you all for the follows, and see you tomorrow night 7:30. Look. Forewarning, if you're new to watching, some of you people are new. It's going to be a little transient tomorrow night. It's the freaking NFL draft, first round. I know my guys are going to be semi-transient. Just forewarn. That won't happen Saturday morning with that group. But my guy, it's my guys. I just stream my guys playing the game. Okay, just be aware. All right. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see who wins. Sage, I'm going to send you a Discord message, okay? Here we go. Closing it out. Please stay on for the raid, everyone. Tux, Lafitte! Tux, you're up. Tux, did I give you... You were close on the fundraiser. If I didn't get to you, I may combine them in, okay? So I may combine them in with... Because I know you were close, and I haven't done it in a couple weeks because I just with all this stuff going on health wise. Yeah. I will probably do that. If I'll go through the list and we'll go from there. So we're gonna raid into them. 1 second. All right. Okay. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Mike. Great show.
Thank you.
Great
and
show,
thank
everyone.
everyone for
Let's
watching.
sit tight,
Yeah.
please. Let's go in with a
Bye,
nice, healthy raid in the 80s or 90s. I think they'll really appreciate it with a channel. If half the people follow, they'll times 5 their viewers. So, all right. Yeah, man. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you all. And I got through this without my foot going completely bulbous, so it's getting better.
Good,
Absolutely. And I really appreciate all your support. And we'll see you all tomorrow night, 7:30, for a fun one. I'm going to hit a wrong button here. I know I am. Did I? It didn't work. I hit a button and nothing happened. There we go. Yeah, Jeff, no problem. No problem. Jeff, you know, I always have to do my stream team people first, you know, for the most part. But like, I'm always willing to take a look and bring, you know, raid in some other people, of course. All right, they'll go from 4 viewers to like 90. So, yeah, as long as we get a good, healthy number here. There we go.
Yep.
That's awesome. 91, 92, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy. See you tomorrow night. Thanks.